Roguelite will have online and local co-op with up to 4 players. You'll find perks along your run like the Flash Husk that gives you extra air dashes in the air, eat a kaiju egg to grow large and hit hard, or use the Backstopper for a full bubble shield. Choose your path as you progress each dungeon, find trade relics at our shopkeeper, complete fun mini-games, and fight difficult bosses. Even if you're good at fighting games, it won't be easy.
As you play the roguelite, you'll uncover the world's lore and each character's backstory. We have a lot to share with this new world that we've created.
Inspired by Streets of Rage, Subspace Emissary from Smash Bros, and other roguelites we love, this mode lets players of any skill level go in alone or jump in with friends.
Our roguelite is just a demo right now though. It still needs a lot more work. It has a good foundation, but it's missing key extraction elements to make the roguelite a more complete experience.
However, the fighting game aspect of our game is feeling really good and almost feature complete. It's already extremely fun and competitive. Combo Devils gameplay is execution-based with deep mechanics, expressive combos, and smooth movement. There's a ton of depth with on-hit cancels, air dashes, EX specials, supers, and a lot more. And of course, you can't forget the party modes.
We have special versus modes like Giant and Tiny mode, Metal mode where you're much heavier, Ice mode that makes you extra slippery, Wonky scaling that randomizes your character's proportions, and Anime mode that gives infinite dash cancels both grounded and in air. You can even combine these modes too.
We also have perk items that change up your character playstyle completely, and you can play on casual stages with hazards for more added fun. We also use rollback netcode, specifically GGPO, which is needed for the best online fighting game experience. Combo Devils is inspired by games we grew up playing. Smash Bros, Street Fighter, and other great fighting games. We've built on what works and added plenty of new mechanics to make Combo Devils its own.
Making fighting game mechanics feel right in a platform fighter takes real experience. And that's where our team comes in.
Most of us come from game companies like these ones here, and a couple of us worked on Project M, a popular mod for Smash Bros. Brawl. We grew up with fighting games, and blending both traditional fighters and platform fighters has always been a passion of ours. So we went full indie with no funding and built Combo Devils from the ground up using everything we learned from our careers and being a part of the community.
The reaction to our game has been absolutely wild. People love it. We've quickly started to win over fans, and they're sticking around and playing for hours. We've shown Combo Devils at Genesis, EVO, Combo Breaker, and a few others. We've even held a few tournaments. Players aren't just excited, they're obsessed.
I was already sold on Platform Fighter with Rollback.
I feel like once this game just gets into people's hands, they will finally understand like how nice it feels.
Immediately one of the most fun experiences for a platform fighter that I've legitimately ever had.
It's got a lot of mechanics from not only other platform fighters, but from traditional fighters that I think people can meet in the middle with.
When I stopped thinking of it as a platform fighter and more like a traditional fighter like Marvel vs. Capcom, that's when it clicked.
I did play the roguelike actually. It kind of reminded me of the Brawl Subspace Emissary.
I love roguelikes in general. This is perfect. It's very fun with friends as well. Being able to play with other people felt amazing.
It's got so much heart.
Yeah.
I can tell how much heart it has.
Competing in a game that I'm this passionate about, that I've only played for a day, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
We're on Kickstarter now because we're in the final stretch. We poured years into Combo Devils with no outside funding, and we need your help to finish strong.
Our goal is to launch the game with a larger character roster, tons of stages, 2v2 doubles, and online ranked netplay with matchmaking. More casual and training modes like soccer mode, target tests with leaderboards, and others we mentioned are coming too.
Hitting stretch goals means more for everyone. More characters, more stages, and a fully realized roguelite mode at launch. With your support, we can expand the roguelite more into the co-op adventure that we've always envisioned. Back us now to get exclusive rewards that you can only get through Kickstarter, like these awesome Kickstarter skins.
We also collabed with Aether Studios and made profile icons and a Jingo emote that backers can use in Rivals of Aether 2.
If you back our beta tier, you'll get guaranteed access to our closed beta as soon as this Kickstarter is funded and complete.
Combo Devils is built to last whether you're here to lab combos, compete, or dive into roguelite runs with your friends. You can expect seasonal events, new character skins, community tournaments, and constant updates to the game year-round. Modding is also very important to us. We plan to have mod support sometime in the future too. We've proven that platform fighter and traditional fighter players can meet in the middle with our game, and we can't wait to see how far it goes. Your support, whether it's backing or sharing this Kickstarter, means everything to us. Back us now and help Combo Devils redefine what a platform fighter can be.
The aesthetic is cool, all the character designs are cool, the movesets are cool. But when I play with it, it looks like it plays really slow and like weird. I've been playing it for the past 2 days, and oh my god, I was so wrong. This game is so sick.
Combo Devils.
Check this out.
Back up. Oh, no, you're a guy. Oh, God. Yes, sir.
This game is awesome. I love this game.
Yeah, it feels very executional.
I am shooting and I'm finding so much of what you can get off the map.
You have actual links into combos like Magic series, like Marvel's Capcom type shit.
I was playing more like a platform fighter.
I was playing more like a fighter, just
Yes.
like a 2D fighter.
Yeah.
No, this is peak. This is one of the best platform fighters I've ever played.
Delivery for ya!
Combo Devils is both a competitive fighting game and a co-op roguelite. Our game is a fusion of platform fighters and traditional fighting games. Our goal is to make the next greatest fighting game that also has other modes you can sink hours into. I'm Cordell Felix, the game director and 3D artist.
And I'm Nikita Taranduk, the animation director. Fighting games are a ton of fun, but they're notoriously hard to get into and can be intimidating.
We want to change that. Fighting games deserve casual modes that are just as fun and replayable as the competitive side. A fighting game where you can play with each other, not just against each other.
We're creating a full side-scrolling extraction roguelite. Not a bonus mode, but a core part of the game.
Our roguelite will have online and local co-op with up to 4 players. Live.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello, chat.
We are. What's up, chat? We're live now, I suppose. Welcome to the Combo Devils Lore Stream Chapter 2. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. We have, once again, Nitro hosting us, hanging out, and we're joined by Justin, Cordell, Izzy, and myself to talk about the Comboverse. And this last time we talked about like the prologue, kind of set up this map that you guys all can see right now. And we kind of established like the play field of where everyone, why like the wacky world we've created, and what kind of like what is the central conflict about. That being this area in the middle called Terramir, with like the newly discovered area that everyone's funneling into. It's the gold rush, everyone's jumping in. But for this stream, we're going to go a little bit more personal, and we're going to talk about the characters this time around. But we're going to focus on, we have a lot to talk about, so we don't want the lore stream to run 4 hours. It was fun last time, but we're going to try to keep it to a more condensed version. So we're going to talk about just the characters that are like playable right now. That includes Jingo, Ikani, Achilles, and Shy.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to explore characters like Lizzo, Debo, Blair, and Dee Dee a little bit further down the line. We have their stuff written out, but I think there's a lot to talk about. For the characters that we do talk about, we'll talk about like their backstory and their lore and how they fit in the Comboverse. But also mention a little bit about like their design process, and it's kind of like they kind of go hand in hand. So it's hard to avoid that. But we do want to save like a more for you like dev nerds out there. We want to save like a more in-depth look into the character design process and the philosophies behind that. For like a more like centered stream about that, and I think you guys might stand to benefit more from that when you kind of know the characters and their backstories, and it'll help you understand the decisions that we make when we do make these characters. So we'll first start off, before I start, Punkzilla Gang, do you guys have anything to add to my little spiel?
Listen up.
I think
Listen to every word. Better see a lot of questions.
Hopefully people have questions. Those Mimi pufferfish, those borders between the nations, they're called the Sunder Walls. They are kind of artificial, but they're not a natural thing that occurs on Borba commonly or anything like that. And they've been around for a long time, and when you join the game as a player, you're witnessing the recession of these walls, and they're slowly kind of crumbling and disappearing, opening up new ventures between the kind of otherwise locked away groups and people. That's been that way for like over 1,000 years at this point. So yeah, Nathan's got you. So we're gonna go to the Tungzi region first off, and more specifically Yamato, where Jingo kind of established himself, where he resided, and we'll talk about the history of Jingo to the present day first off. So let's fly around here and let's go look at Jingo, and we'll kind of riff back and forth between these, kind of the characters themselves and the backstories. We do have a more coherent kind of story paragraph, but I thought it would be pretty boring if I just read that. So Izzy and I kind of made a bunch of notes to talk about each character in that way. And Izzy, do you want to start off with Jingo, and I can help kind of direct? Well, I can move the images around for people to look around.
Yeah. So any of you guys are welcome to interject, but so let's get into it. So Jingo is a beastling. Beastlings are essentially anthropomorphic people. They're generally about 4 feet tall, and they can be anything from a dog person, a cat person, a little lizard person like Didi. And Jingo is currently the headmaster of the Shadowpaw Dojo, and kind of his driving motivation in the story is that his master was mysteriously killed, and he's trying to figure out who did it and what's the cause of it. So he's from a fishing village called Sugaru, which is on the eastern side of Yamato, and when he came of age, when he was a teenager or so, he moved to the big city, Kamakura City, to work at a dumpling shop. So Jingo is actually a dumpling chef. This was his day job while he went and studied the Shadowpaw style at the Shadowpaw Dojo under Master Tosahiro. And Master Tosahiro is kind of a father figure to Jingo. He's at if you want to show his image there. Yeah, Master Tosahiro is kind of Jingo's guiding star, and he really idolizes this guy and learned a lot of the fighting moves that you guys see from his master. And actually, if you scroll over to the dojo image, so Master Tosahiro inherited this dojo, and this style, Shadowpaw, is very old. And so in the center there is a statue to the founder of the Shadowpaw style. He's an Oni, so we have Onis in our world. So maybe one day we'll reveal more about that guy, but this style's been around for a long time, and so Jingo is just the latest person to kind of carry on the style. Anyways, one day Jingo came home, was going to the dojo for his last lesson in the Shadowpaw style, and he mysteriously finds his master crushed beneath the statue that you see there, and it's been repaired since then. And Tosahiro, he was a legendary, well-regarded shinobi, but the thing is, the business of being a shinobi means you're going to make some enemies, right? So no one was really surprised that someone got back at him. and the death hit Jingo very hard, and he tried really hard to try to track down who the killer was. This also leads him to interrogate Mimi at some point because her scent and trail was found at the scene, and maybe we'll reveal a little bit more about that one day. But eventually the trail turned up dry, and Jingo just went to renovating the dojo and kind of rummaged through his master's things. And then one day he found this ancient scroll describing this martial arts competition that once was held in Terramere. And the scroll talks of an ancient being known as the Olmec who could grant wishes to the champion, right? Then one day, Jingo was mourning the anniversary of his master's passing, and then a beam of light, as described in the scroll, illuminates the sky. And Jingo, kind of putting two and two together, thinks that maybe that he can learn something there. Maybe there's some kind of clue there that will help him put his master's soul to rest.
The idea is also that he finds these scrolls, and in our world is kind of permeated knowledge that once upon a time, the legends say there were these grand Olmec trials, and it was the Super Olympics. We kind of mentioned that last stream. So people know about these things, and they're old in the same way that we know about the Tower of Babel or Mesopotamia or Greek mythology or any of these other kind of old kind of stories like Homer and the Iliad and Odyssey and that kind of stuff. So the legends always tell Olmec is the granter of wishes and he can make anything come true. So for our hero who's stricken with this grief of his persona, his pedestal that he put this master on, who got kind of taken from him, he feels that he can go to the Olmec and get answers in that way, and maybe he can grant a wish to figure out who did this. He's just at a loss, right? He doesn't really know what happened, because it looks like an accident, but Jingo did also get an interesting scent that wasn't normal to him during that time, but he doesn't really know what happened, and we don't really know what happened. So but the Olmec is the ultimate arbiter of knowledge, and he supposedly can grant wishes. So that kind of got Jingo to want to go in that direction and seek that kind of answer. This is a cool drawing that Izzy did. One thing we do for our characters often is when you do this in the industry in general, when you design a character and you create them, it's good to have an expression sheet for the animators, because it kind of helps establish the range of emotions these characters can have and what they look like. And this one is fun because it has the little dumpling bowl. Dumplings are really commonplace in our world, as they are in the real world, because dumplings, there is some form of them in most cultural cuisine, and I love that because I grew up eating dumplings as well. Do you remember these drawings you did, Izzy?
Vaguely, but I do.
There was a lot of them, huh?
I really like some of those as emotes on the Combo Doubles Twitch channel. Those are too fire. The Jingo taunt one, nah.
Yeah, he loves doing his little peace sign. Dude, we need on the little Twitch
at least
emojis.
in the Discord, but no,
I'll make 'em
Twitch
right now.
would be fire.
I'll make them right now. I don't give a shit.
So this is Jingo and his where he stays at, and he took some of the scrolls from the master's study, and then brings them there for himself to read them. So maybe this is the moment where he kind of learns about the Olmec trials. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun because it was just Jingo he's not a grand adventure character. He's not the hero's journey. He's just a guy that resides in a society that that works in this fashion. So I like slice of life moments, so it's a really intimate moment of Jingo kind of just off the clock doing his thing. He wears his bandana maybe he just finished training, so he's still got his bandana on, but it was a really like personal piece that I think resonated with all of us on the team really well, and I love the clutter because it feels lived in, and you kind of get a sense of the world like in that way. Like this is an old
That's original.
rendition.
It's original.
That's
Jingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That last picture gives a lo-fi beats girl.
Oh, you know
High five.
what? We actually
we
have
did.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the YouTube channel
Yeah, if
that
you guys go on the
exists.
YouTube channel, there's an animated version of this to Jingo's one of Jingo's songs.
And so this is like OG Jingo. This was like the old design by the way, before we jump into like old concept art, this is kind of how development works in movies, games, entertainment. There's going to be plenty of concepts that didn't make the final cut, and I know a lot of people may enjoy those designs or whatever, but just so you know, like, we also enjoy those designs, but we do make our decisions for very specific reasons. So be careful about falling in love with the old designs. It doesn't mean that they might see the light of day, but they also exist in our heads, so it doesn't mean that they wouldn't, serve inspiration in some form or another in a different time.
And Nikita, I sent you something. Could you toss that in there too?
Yeah, let me.
Here's this, by the
let me
way.
do that What's that?
Here's that animated. You guys don't see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Put that up while Nikita does this.
Let me move this up
Yeah, I
here.
love that so much. So cool.
Not there.
It's a little too cool.
Also, honestly, for the stream, like, check out that video because the extended version of that song is extremely good.
Oh, good.
Oh, the lo-fi beats one.
That's a Rob special, man.
Yeah. To this image, I've studied many times, or I've worked on this game many times like that.
Wonder if I could switch the. I can, yeah. Switch the U log to this one.
That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. Yeah, there was
this whole song is amazing.
There was the animated one where smoke comes from his pipe and stuff.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have a pipe in this anymore. We removed that for reasons.
Oops. It's okay. So like, I kind of put these two images together. I'll show the one you sent me real quick in a second, Izzy. But like Jingo went through a very iterative process from what he once was to kind of where he's at now, and we simplified him for certain reasons. But Izzy did a lot of like drawings to kind of like do early explorations of like his attacks, and me as the animator, like I study these like pretty aggressively because I think they have so much life in them and character, and I try my best to like capture Jingo through these like poses, and it there's like difficulty in its own way, but like I love like attacks and striking poses like this that he does, and we try to get those as like as close as we can. Izzy does a lot of like drawings for all the characters for the like design process in creating move sets, and I wanted to give you guys a little like peek at like it's like some work that was done during that time, because Jingo used to have like a ton of like utility that we explored, that we still have, that we can kind of like go back to at some point. Like here's like a showcase of his his ninja kind of equipment. Like he at one point, like he had like a grappling hook idea at one point, and he had this balloon.
That
Yeah,
looks so
I modeled
sick.
all of those too. Yeah, he used to have a balloon recovery until we took it away.
It was too good.
Maybe it'll come back as a super utility recovery. Who knows?
Yeah, we kind of like had all these ideas, but then gameplay wise, we were like, this character does not need a better recovery. And Cordell was like bummed out because he made the balloon. It looks really cool, but it's
Yeah.
like I really don't think we should give this character a balloon.
Yeah, I wasn't that
And
bummed. I was excited for the fan, but it was a fun recovery move.
What'd you say, Nitro?
I was about to say install super maybe.
Yeah,
Use
like
the-
we were thinking it could be a super where
exactly.
like it's a bomb too. So like you would use this as like a recovery super, and it's like a bomb. So you could use it to like recover and then just leave this ticking like explosion, you know, that would go off. And I don't know if Jingo would really benefit from that. It sounds more like a joke. I don't know.
No, it sounds like Setup City. Like that sounds crazy. I also saw on the one concept sheet, it looks like he had more of like a chopping-esque fare. Like it seemed like his like forward heavy like is like marked under
Yeah.
fare.
His forward heavy is now basically that.
Yeah, his fair used to be that, and we changed it.
Okay.
What's really cool about seeing concept sheets like this is that you can really see them in game, because when they hit these poses like this, they will hold them for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of them on this sheet. You can see Jingo do a lot. Like it's like you said, his forward strong, his air strong, his up air. It's not the exact same, but you'll see him strike that pose a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they definitely serve as inspirations for the final thing, and you kind of like sometimes you try stuff and it doesn't work out, and you have to like change it for like reasons that like it's like tough to kind of like let something go, but the reason does overall improve the character.
The reason is for the good of the realm. That's
For the good of the realm, the combo.
The good of the combo verse.
But yeah, there's I didn't include like, you know, when picking up images for this like stream, I think Izzy has just like stacks and boxes of sketchbooks to a point where it's like the
There's
fucking
so many drawings.
Yeah, the Library of like Alexandria. There's too much stuff, and we maybe we do need to make an art book at one day, but there's a lot of like things in general.
Yeah, I was looking for sketches for some of the characters, and I'm like, man, there's so much of stuff I haven't scanned yet, or just, you know, it's just sitting there. So maybe one day, if people care.
Maybe one day.
I would go crazy.
Eventually, like, you know, here you can see kind of like the two different
where he evolved from.
Yeah, the evolved version of Jingo, but like where he once was to where he ended up. And you know, people can have different like perspectives on how they feel about it, but we ultimately decided that like we wanted to have like a cohesive, like his job as the art director is to like make things cohesive, and going in this direction helped us find our like flavor of Combo Devils in the world itself. And kind of like it's not really how Izzy, I would say, paints in his personal time or does stuff in his personal time, and he kind of like built a style specifically for like for the game, like you're supposed to as a director. So I feel like Izzy, this might be like kind of more in the direction of how you normally operate.
Yeah.
Versus this is kind of more like because like we had to like somehow fit this with like the other characters, right? And when you have too many characters that don't match thematically, it gets kind of like convoluted, especially in a game like this where it's like here's a bunch of random crazy worlds. Good luck.
Yeah,
But
I think
this
it was
helped-
just like finding that I think like there's a stylization that I think lends itself. Like I'm just gonna bring up Akira Toriyama again because like he's the god. But like when you think of Akira Toriyama, like he's able to make like his characters all you don't question it that like Beerus is a Egyptian cat and then Vegeta is like a freaking alien from outer space, and you know, you have like whatever, you have like all these random ass characters in it. You believe it because there's an art style that kind of holds all together, and there's like at least a framework of why the world is the way it is. So it was important to, and Jingo is kind of like our starting point. You know, when Cordell chose Jingo as kind of our starting point, from Jingo, not only did our art style grow from there, but also our game design came from Jingo. Like it was just me and Cordell playing Jingo Dittos for years.
Years.
only me and Cordell were really playing this game at like a high level for years, you know, and And we got like flash step canceling and neutral 1, 2, 3 going and all these little things. We're like, oh, there's something here. But then like Jingo just kind of became. That's why his model, is kind of out of date compared to the other ones, because he was like our first kind of pillar for things.
Definitely. He went through a lot of like iteration. I'll briefly kind of show these of just like old sketches of Jingo, of like
yeah, we didn't have the style back then here. This was just kind of like my natural, like just drawing shit. So, I'm trying to find the character, but we didn't really have the style to like tie it together.
Yeah, and it's nice to explore like little moments like this.
Can you see this?
With Jingo, where he's like a little bit. What's up?
Sorry, I was trying to show. Why is it not showing? I was going to show some old Jingo gameplay, but OBS is being weird. I doesn't want to show it. Weird. Okay.
We can do that in
another time.
Like a different. Yeah.
Show
like
the, show the lineup real quick of his characters.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. So like, yeah, here's some like older drawings of Jingo, like little more intimate moments where he's not the karate master or whatever, the like Shadow Pod disciple. He's sad. It's like important to like you as the artist have to believe these characters are real. Otherwise, like, why would anyone else believe you? So to me, Jingo is like a real character. I've spent a lot of time with him. I know his ambitions, who he is. These are like drawings. Yeah, Brian Mann drawing. He's so buff when he's eating.
He's so thick when Brian draws him.
I love it.
Thick boy.
These are some crappy drawings I did a long time ago. And like these like simple ones are so fun because you can get like just like
Fuma Shuriken.
Yeah, the Fuma throw, like all I needed was Izzy to draw this like pose, and I was like, I get it, I got it, I can do this. I don't need to worry about anything else. Like the essence of this move is here.
Fill in the gaps.
Yeah. And like the energy some of these like have, these old like sketches, like just like this kind of like, I feel like the energy is captured in like his down air, for example, of like you just see that like that striking a pose, and that's like the rest that you see. And like just a little bit for you guys, like there is an exploration pyramid where the characters go through a process of like trying to figure out who they are and different weapons.
Early. We weren't even sure about like the setting,
Yeah, we had no idea. It was just like draw the character, like let them speak to you through the page.
Okay, that sci-fi twist we almost had.
Yeah, he's like a cyber
super
ninja.
cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, like
these could be like alt skins.
Yeah, like this is still inspiration for something. Jingo's looking down in your face.
Like a big emote too.
One thing about
I need to install Super with those blades. Like, oh my god, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
Sci-fi
Cyborg
Doge.
Cyborg Ninja Doge.
Nutty.
One thing about like this, like kind of when you build these characters, even if you never for yourself, and even if you never like really show these other like characters, it's important to know because it helps like build the world around them to establish like some sort of like tangible permanence with these characters. Like Jingo has a father, Jingo Senior. Jingo's rival, who we didn't know at the time who that was, and it eventually grew into like Mimi. And like Jingo's late master, and like even to the point of like the kids that like Jingo teaches, or like his old boss at the dumpling place. You want to talk about these, Izzy?
Oh yeah, so I eventually want to do this for all the characters. I've done it for some of them, but I just wanted to like kind of flesh out like what was Jingo's world like. So I figured Jingo had a pretty strict dad, probably maybe didn't get along with his dad, and that's why he moved out. And Jingo's late master, Master Toshihiro, allowed him to be almost like this godlike, teacher father figure that Jingo looked up to. So there's like something really kind of stoic and awesome about him. But eventually we'll reveal that like who he is. And then the landlady, dumpling boss. She's kind of a reference to the lady in Kung Fu Hustle because that lady just cracks me up. But in this
She's
one,
rad.
she's a frog lady for some reason, and she has baby tadpoles in her hair.
Zoom in to
Which
get
is-
it? Yeah.
Yeah, little baby tadpoles in her hair. And she smokes a lot of cigarettes.
She got 3 cigarettes in her
these are
mouth.
and these are
I
like,
didn't even notice that.
and then these are just like street urchins. Like I was thinking Jingo's like a teacher, so the Shadow Paw Dojo has been kind of like since the master died, like people aren't really interested in taking it up anymore. And Jingo is as cool as he is, like he doesn't have the reputation that Master Toshihiro has, so people aren't signing up. So like Jingo, I'm thinking maybe he has to teach karate to little kids, right? But in the back, he's still doing ninja stuff. It's just like the Shadow Paw clan is like really small, right? So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, I love Jingo Senior. He just reminds me of like Angry Jet Li. Yeah, like there's a lot of thought. Like even though we may not really ever encounter these characters, it's good to know like what the world is like, because like at one point like Mimi was just a rival. That we kind of figured that Jingo needs a rival. Like a lot of like kung fu films have that, and in martial arts cinema, that like characters have rivals of some kind. Whether or not she's like a maybe she's like the Black Cat to Spider-Man, or maybe she's like a direct rival to the character, or maybe that's like a spot for somebody else. Like we at least had
I'm
an
thinking
idea.
that Jingo at some point spars with other dojos or like other schools, and like
Yeah.
he was someone that he sparred against, or
And-
something like that.
Yeah, so like we have like Mimi here, for example, kind of evolved into this like this character that we have we want to explore someday, and it just kind of came from like a drawing.
Who I designed with a coworker of mine from Blizzard.
Yeah, Michaela.
Yeah, Michaela, who's a great artist. Like look up her work, Michaela and a neighbor.
Yeah.
I knew she was like the person I had to tap to like give me some sketches, And then I kind of finished it up from where she took things, but she kind of took the general idea of like a cat ninja, but more like Chinese themed, and then she kind of made sense of all the shapes and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Michaela's really good for that, but that's kind of like the basic overview of like Jingo as a character. He's a very like straightforward kind of like person in what he's like seeking. He just kind of wants answers for like the world that he was kind of like handed. And what I think what's compelling about him is that like no matter how much adversity like gets dumped on Jingo's plate, he's always a character that kind of finds uses his determination to move past it and still like kind of do what he can to come out on top, because he's a very like disciplined, determined person, and I mean I resonate with that. I like that he has that kind of just raw devotion to a craft. I like respect that. I'm like we talked about, he worked at like in the dumpling place in the past, and like he's a character that would make every dumpling with like respected amount of like devotion. He would never give you like a half-assed dumpling to eat. It's like there's like that like sushi chefs like that, like what is it, Hero Dreams of Sushi, that like old documentary where they're just like devoted to making this thing. It's like Jingo does that to everything he does, and I have a lot of respect for him for that.
Pretty much. That's who he is.
Yeah, he's really cool. Open the floor, like before we go look at chat. Justin, Nitro, you guys want to add anything? Ask anything?
I got more answers than I was ready for. I'm just excited about the rest.
No, I'm pretty familiar with Jingo. Well, it's I've said this before, but it's It's always amazing. It's always fantastic seeing like how you guys plan out all of this lore and like understand the character at a deep level, so that when it gets to the time where you like write dialogue or you like do the animations and things like that, it's just second nature. Like you know this character so well, like you would be like, oh, this is exactly how he would do this, you know. So it's just great seeing how that comes alive and how these characters really come alive in not only the game but in the gameplay. It's really cool seeing that connection. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's actually funny to you mention that, because I remember when we were writing the lines for like Jingo, there was things that we would just throw out there, and like Mikuro and Izzy would look at it and we're like, that's not something Jingo would say. And it was just like, yeah, you're right. I like, of course, you know. So I think it helps understanding the character, or like vice versa. When you write something down, it's like that is a Jingo line, like 100%. Like I can just envision in my head.
Absolutely.
Would Jingo ever say poggers? Poggers, pipe man.
He would never say that.
So
Oh,
funny.
poggers? Oh, with a PAW?
Oh my god.
No, but it is
You
amazing
hear one-
seeing how deep you guys go with it. Like even noticing like you guys like will take the time to put a Pac-Man on one of the shirts of an imaginary kid that Jingo potentially teaches inside of a classroom, like just to show like all the tie-ins and all the inspiration that like, yeah, Jingo plays games too. Like he also like be chilling out. He likes his like little slice of life. Yeah, like bro with the ice cream cone, man. Like I need to see him background and I need to go visit him in adventure mode, just see what little tidbit of audio, or not audio, dialogue he has to say to me.
For sure, that's what we hope. Like
That kid looks like he talks mad trash.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He probably think he
for
nice
sure.
at the game, like for real.
He's amazing.
I saw a question from Mimi. Why doesn't Jingo just ask Olmec to revive his master? So the he can, but the thing is, like Olmec is as the thing that people know in the modern age of like combo devils is that Olmec is like, it's kind of like a legend, you know. Like Olmec isn't like a known entity that they're like he's not like a celebrity you can just like visit that is like on social media talking all the time. It's just like they're like, put yourself in a situation where you're at your wit's end and you're just like, I don't know how to solve this problem that I'm in, and the only thing that comes to you is like, look man, on the other side of like, you know, like in this state, this far away in this area, like there's this guy who lives in a shack or whatever, and he can grant you, he could like solve your problems. That's like all you know as like these characters. You don't know if Olmec can just like fix your problems, but that's what the legends say, and those legends existed for 1,000 years. So like something has to be true, like something, like some sort of answer has to be there. Otherwise, like you have no other leads. Like Jingo's just like, I don't understand. Like nobody, he's interviewed people, he's talked to folks around, and like nothing, and he's left with this kind of confusion of like, my master is dead. I swear to God, I had a scent there in that moment. Am I crazy? Am I just like hyped on adrenaline because I'm freaking out because my master's dead? Why would anybody kill my master? He was a good guy. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's kind of like distraught. If you've ever dealt with loss in your life, when it first happens, you're kind of like disoriented and you don't know what to believe. You're just kind of like confused why things are happening. So, and because Jingo's personality is like in this way, he kind of like wants to go do what he can to kind of like figure out this like mission. It completely consumes him. Yeah, it's not like Shenron from DBZ where like people know that he's an entity and they've seen him summon multiple times. It's more of like, if you're like you've just heard of Shenron, like nobody's ever gotten to Dragon Balls in 1,000 years, and then like you're just like, this lore is that if we collect these things, Shenron is supposed to just grant us a wish. Like I don't know what that looks like, but that's what the scrolls say. So like that seems like the best option for me. So I'm gonna go there. Yeah. and we wanted to explore that for like every character, because I think it's fun to have like some mystery, but I don't want a mystery box with like just only questions. We got to give you some answers to make it like believable. Is he?
Someone asked for it.
All right, I'll
Someone
show
asked
At the same time, on top of that, like the Olmec itself, the idea of it is a competition at the end of the day, right? So
Yes.
it
it's a
kind of
competition.
makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense for, you're not thinking about this kind of thing. You see the beam of light come up, and you're like, I need to go and perform. I need to do what I need to do. So I can imagine him not really like immediately going, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to do in this exact situation. Like, no, you need to get up and go.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
like, I'm a martial artist in Shadowpaw Dojo. My master has been researching this competition, and the winner gets a wish. You know.
It's time. It is time.
Oh, I will do what I can do best. Can you talk about what you just sent me on chat, Izzy?
Yeah. So someone asked in chat, "Do you got art of Jingo in the dumpling shop?" So here's what we got. Work in
This is
progress.
incredible.
Maybe it's a mini game. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll get Chef Jingo kicking dumplings into fryers and woks. I love dumplings with like green onion and some chili. You know, like the spicy chili oil.
Oh, that stuff.
That's good.
On your eggs in the morning, man.
Exactly.
Here's the master
Master Toshihiro.
Toshihiro, yeah.
I love the sepia tone photo. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Based it off of this old photo I found of a karate guy, and I'm like, I gotta replicate
really?
that. Yeah.
And the Master Toro and the Chef Jingo skin are gonna go crazy. I'm already knowing.
Well, at some point we had a idea that Jingo plays baseball in his spare time too, so that would be kind of funny. But anyway, yeah. So this is our local karate dog extraordinaire, and kind of a little tidbit about who he is and what he's doing in this world. And for those joining later, he goes from the Tungzi region on the island of Yamato, and he's from like a fishing village around here, and there's a little Mimi around. Let's see. I'm gonna check chat really quick to see if there's anything I missed, unless anyone's got something for me.
Can you show other? Oh, I think we got that. Okay. Yeah, he saw we sent that.
Let's see, Late Jingo. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Y'all mentioned Nathan says y'all mentioned different schools of martial art. Are there one for each of these urban areas there?
Probably. I think there's. I mean, if you take a drive through your neighborhood, there's all kinds of dojos and schools, right? So I imagine that there would be also here.
A lot of like we watched if for those who have never found the Wu-Tang Clan collection on YouTube, it's a wonderful collection of old martial arts cinema.
Oh yeah.
And it is like, if you just want idly watch something that is like very fun, they have a ton of kung fu films on that YouTube channel, the Wu-Tang collection, and a lot of those films like operate in this basis of like where dojos were just like the local like community spot, and then they would be like rival dojos, rival schools. It's the name of a fighting game. Like it's I imagine in Tungzi region that's just a common thing, that there's different martial arts styles and different kind of like areas of the
That's
various
just a
like
thing
towns.
on Borba. Like martial arts is like a big thing in our world.
Yeah, exactly. In Borba, it's like combat and competition just permeates the culture, and and it arises in different ways. Sometimes martial arts, sometimes it's athletics, in other ways like it It can manifest in like less competitive ways, but as long as you're competitive in it, that's what matters. Competitive like dumpling eating. Who knows? So we have not gotten the other characters. Sorry, we took forever on Jingo. He's our little favorite, but I wanted to go next to the region of Kaban.
Yeah.
And talk about.
I can read that.
You want to read that stuff?
Yeah, I can read so I'll read the footnotes and then you can do the spiel.
Yeah, sure. So
Okay.
let's talk about Akani.
All right. So Akani is from Kaban, the lowlands of Kaban, and this area is defined by kind of this clash of the urban city areas and kind of the more traditional tribes that live in the forest. Akani, she's from the Bat tribe or the Bat clan, and she lives on the edge of the nocturnal jungle, which is, in this kind of that mountain range that we see there. She, like, her grandma lives in the nocturnal jungle, and she would visit her grandma all the time. But when Akani was young, her mother died at a young age, and her father, who isn't part of the Bat clan, left Akani with her grandma to work in Yucateco, which is the big city, the big metropolitan area. And so Akani grew up with her grandmother, always respected her, absorbed any lessons she provided throughout her life, and kind of learned some of these traditional things that the Bat tribe passes down to their people. And why don't you go ahead and pull up like Akani's concept art? As she got older, she started going to school in the big city. Her dad lived in the big city, so she'd go stay with her dad, and she made friends in the big city and showed her arcades and awesome junk food, and slowly she started spending less time with her grandma. And then eventually, when Akani got a little bit older, she was accepted at university on an athletic scholarship. She plays this Mesoamerican sports game. We call it Pitsball. It's kind of like what you see in if you guys look at any Mayan or Aztec kind of like art, you'll see them playing this traditional ball game. So we're kind of doing a spin on that. But she got an athletic scholarship playing this game, and she had to choose between. She had to make a choice of do I hang out with my grandma and maybe learn the traditional ways, or do I pursue this scholarship? But modern life is very appealing, so she went with the scholarship. And the thing about the Bat people is that they kind of have, the Bat clan people, is they kind of have poor eyesight, but they have they're really good at senses, right? So she wears glasses, to kind of make up for her eyesight not being that great. Anyways, while she was in the university, she would stay with her dad, and felt pretty guilty about leaving her grandma alone at her cabin out in the forest by herself. And her grandma was getting pressure from other people in the clan to sell the land because it's going to bring prosperity to the village. You're going to get some new opportunities out there. But obviously her grandma was super against it, and Akani was super against it. But Akani, she was out in college or out in university studying, and she tried to make time to see her grandma, but she was busy with school and everything, and found herself spending more time in campus than going back to visit grandma. But grandma was sick, and eventually grandma died while she was off in school, and she couldn't make it home in time for the funeral because she was just overwhelmed with school. And then Akani's uncle, her mom's brother, inherited grandma's vote to the land and voted in favor of selling it. So before the land was sold, Akani rushed home for the funeral and rummaged through her grandma's things and found an old wooden chest addressed to her. And inside the wooden chest was the floatstone spear that we see her wielding. And suddenly she felt this determination that she wanted to preserve her grandma's land at any cost. Right? So she postponed her studies. She moved back into her grandma's house to stall the land sale, and did whatever she could to prevent the sale, Anyways, one morning she woke up and found the bat, Xochi, her bat, the bat that Akani uses is her grandma's pet bat, and it was missing one morning, or one day. And so she went to search for Xochi, went deep into the forest looking for Xochi, calling out for Xochi, and then she got lost. Akani got lost, but uncharacteristically, because these are like the Bat Clan people. They don't get lost in the forest. Like they know their way. So it was so dark that even she couldn't see. And then from the darkness of the forest, she started hearing this voice that sounded like her grandma beckoning her to this cave. And this is where she finds the bat helmet, right? The bat helmet like was almost like calling to her. So she puts on the bat helmet. It enhanced her senses, and she was able to find her way back home to like grandma's cabin. So this experience gave Akani the confidence to basically stage a protest against the council's decision to basically cause protesters to come out and stop the land sale. They started like things were getting kind of violent, and then eventually they called the council called the cops on them, and it was dispersed. Like the protest ended, and Akani, you know, she's not going to stop there, so she gets pissed. And but she's like, you know what, maybe this is the right thing. Like maybe I should just give up on this and go back and study and just move on with this. But then she saw these giant metal machines starting to like tear down her grandma's forest that she raised from hand, you know. And she saw the helmet and spear, she put it on, and then she came out at night and she started just destroying all the machines. She started just breaking shit. And then eventually the people were like, and they called her the Huntress, you know, and then people started cheering her on. They were like, hell yeah, destroy those machines. But then people were like, now the village has to pay for the damages. And so people turned against her, turned against the Huntress. But, you know, Akani kind of had to do things in quiet, and she continued being a vigilante. No one knew it was her. She kind of kept her identity secret. But then like the security measures for the land developers were just too much for her to handle. So she kind of had to stop because it was just, she couldn't do it anymore. Then one morning she wakes up and there's a beam of light in the horizon, and she knew what it was because the Bat Clan people tell the story of the Olmec, and what the Olmec was. Like they tell a lot of stories. And she knew that the Olmec could grant a wish to anyone who was strong enough. And so she packed her things and headed to Terramere, the center of the continent, to get the power she needs to get Grandma's Grove back. So that's Akani's story.
Akani was always an interesting character, I think, for us, because like for a while we couldn't really figure out what to do with her and like her motivations, but we knew we wanted it to be like personal struggle of like, you know, there's like themes and story writing that's like character versus nature, or character versus character, and like we wanted her to kind of go through like a coming of age thing and realize that there's like something she can be a part of that's like bigger than herself. But we didn't want her to be like a hippy dippy like nature person. We wanted it to kind of be more personal in that regard. Like Akani kind of starts out as a character that just wants to be normal, and you know, she's kind of like living her life. She lives far, like there's like the big city, and then she lives in the countryside, and like I have friends that like have parents that passed away at an early age, so they kind of like their life is different from those people that did have parents like throughout their life. So like Akani kind of has that vibe where, you know, she lost her mom, so her grandma kind of took place of that. So she learned a lot to like about why it's important to care about the environment and how to share like that symbiotic relationship with the environment from her grandmother, because it's like a grove. She like took care of like the land around her and stuff like that. And her dad was just like overwhelmed with like grief, and sometimes like what people do with grief is they just disappear into some other kind of like way to distract themselves. And since he wasn't really attached to like the clan, he kind of like, you know, married somebody that was more situated into it. He didn't have like a permeance there, and he felt that like maybe, and he's like a kind of character that didn't really like end up, you know, he detached himself from family, and that happens. But that didn't stop Akani. It didn't give her like she was still determined and wanted to like her personalities to be like very competitive like most people. We thought it was really interesting. I think Izzy brought up that like her forward throw in the game was inspired by that game that I think it was it the Aztecs play? Izzy?
Aztecs and Mayans, yeah.
Aztecs
Oh,
and Mayans,
pits.
where there's like a wall with a hoop that's sideways, and you're supposed to kind of like bump the ball in through the hoop to like score points, and usually like use your hips.
Right.
What was the name of that game?
I think there's a bunch of names for it, but Pits, P-I-T-Z.
Pitts ball. Yeah. They're like like an El Dorado, like that. They talk about that in
And there
culture.
are
And I thought-
versions of the sport where they use a stick to like hit it.
Right. There was like an Aztec like cricket bat once you designed for like a different reason that I always thought was compelling. But we wanted to give her like some kind of presence that was like justified if she's gonna be this vigilante, because like she shares a lot of themes with like vigilante superheroes and whatnot, and kind of like, but she's still like a kid, you know. She's like a kid in the sense that she's not like a child. She's like in her early 20s, like trying to figure out like life and trying to find meaning and purpose. It's an important decision that like you kind of like get confronted with, and when you're that age, you still have energy to do these things, and as you get older, it gets harder. Yeah, like I used to have a lot of energy, but now I'm a sad, deflated old man. But it's okay. We want like this is a concept piece that I really enjoyed that Izzy did, where we get like a little glimpse of maybe like Akani in her like sporty gear while she dons her uniform. But like the main important thing about Akani is that like the spear and the helmet are part of an identity that the locals dubbed the Huntress. It's not Akani. It's like when Batman puts on the mask, he stops being Bruce Wayne and becomes the Batman, and it gives him a confidence that he may or not have like as Bruce Wayne for other reasons. And it's like the same with Akani. Like we wanted her to assume the role of this person who wants to fight for like traditional values and the underdog, because like her grandma is getting kind of like taken over by the system, and we've seen that kind of like trope happen in storytelling where like the system kind of paves over you and the characters like deal with it in different ways. Like one that comes to mind immediately is like the movie Up from Pixar, where like the old man rebels against the city buying his land by, you know, unleashing a billion balloons, and he flies away and has an adventure. So there's like, I think that's like a fun like a theme to explore. And Xochi was never really meant to be this prominent, but she canonically, Xochi's a girl, by the way. She became more prominent in Akani's like story because she was part of the gameplay, and we felt that the companion character became like pretty interesting as a character, because like Akani also reminded us of a lot of like Monster Hunter characters, where like that whole game you can kind of play it in two different ways. Like you can go around and kill monsters and gain XP and stuff like what most people do, but you also have the, you know, option to do it more of like a pacifist direction. You can trap monsters and you actually get more resources that way. So I figured that Akani might do things on hard mode that way and be more, have like a more symbiotic relationship like that instead of a parasitic relationship with nature and kind of how she operates. Plus she just like grew up in that environment. If you grow up in the city, you might have like a harder time understanding like the countryside because it's not something that you're comfortable with. Some people, you know, that's not a blanket statement. Some people may feel differently, but you don't get the view of like growing up, or the like that perspective of like growing up. So it's interesting to see a character like have one childhood and a different like young adult section of their life. Xochi the Bat, with like some concept drawings. She was always just kind of like she's she's yeah, people like love her, hate her, I don't know. There's like companions are interesting to fight against, I guess. So many people want to hit the bat.
But
gotta
if she
hit the
was,
bat. You don't have a choice.
yeah, like you're not really given this like choice. You kind of have to attack her. And I know that one of our old inspirations for Connie was also like a little bit in her design. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Izzy, but like Metroid comes to mind, or sorry, Samus comes to mind from Metroid. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, her playstyle is kind of inspired by Samus in a weird way. Like she's kind of like a zoner, like poke kind of character, and I like that about Samus. I know it drives people crazy to play that way, but that's fun for me.
Yeah, she might also be as zony as we'll get. Maybe we'll push the extreme a little bit, but probably trying to stay away from like projectile spam. But I also love the design of the helmet being, it feels like a motorcycle helmet with like those like ears. I really enjoy like that design because you only really get to see her mouth in the same way that like she's a vigilante, so she's trying to like cover her face, and she has this kind of like stark like image of this strange like creature like coming in and messing up all these bureaucratic like machines that are meant to pave over her childhood, like because she grew up in that kind of area.
I love the kind of dichotomy there is there too. Like everyone that sees her doing her eco-terrorism stuff and like fighting for the cause thinks she's like a superhero basically, but really deep down she's really dealing with a lot of pain. She's dealing with losing a lot of her childhood. She doesn't really have that kind of deep maturity that one would think a superhero would have. So it's interesting seeing her kind of navigate through that as well.
She was definitely inspired by like in some regard characters like Asuka from Evangelion, where she's like at a, you're in your early 20s and then somebody's like kind of impeding on a part of your life and you're just full of energy and you're fiery and you're like, I will do whatever. Like a lot different response from someone that's like doubled her age, who doesn't have like that energy per se, or has more to lose than she does. She's at a point where she's kind of like feels like she already lost everything, and she has a lot of like momentum to want to like confront that in her own unique way, especially when she's like discovers this like heirloom from her family that's like, here's this spear made out of this material called floatstone that is very commonplace in the Kaban region. In fact, it's like the region that gets a lot of it naturally. So she decides to kind of like explore the uses of that, and we kind of like also talked about how canonically like there's like the talk about the size of Borba and then like allowing for like lighter jumps, but Akani playstyle is a bit floatier and floaty character, and I think like it's synonymous with the fact that she has a lot of these like jewelry pieces on her that are all made out of floatstone, kind of like around her body, that help her feel like lightweight, and she feels a little bit lighter than the characters, and she can kind of float around more. She can like glide forward for short distances, and it kind of is more clear and evident in her spear that is like disconnected from reality, or like tangent, like they like float and they like kind of break the idea of like what's natural. I'll kind of show some of these old concept arts of her and where she like kind of stem from.
One thing I want to add on Justin's note about how she's still kind of young and maybe not mature enough to, or maybe hasn't matured to like kind of rationalize this situation a little bit. And that's kind of what we want for our characters. We want our characters to have the opportunity to grow, so that if we do another game, like we want to give them like this is like their first arc. We're like it's almost like this is our first season, and we're trying to give characters like an arc to grow towards. And then if we get past that arc, then like we can kind of give them more to grow towards. So like Akani, she's young, she's kind of dealing with this problem with violence. And just going to the Olmec to get power, but is that the right way to solve it? Like maybe there's another way, but to her it's like, no, this is the only way I know how to solve this problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's opportunity for growth on multiple levels of these characters, and it's like, how do they deal with this problem
at the time in that moment. And you know, she's like a very competitive student and excels in athleticism, and she's kind of like headstrong in that regard, and that's how she tackles problems, where she's just like, the best way for me to deal with this is just grab my spear and start breaking things, because I'm good at sports. I'm good at like dealing with like physical pressures in that regard. Like that's what I'm good at doing, and I'm also really angry in this moment because like the system is against me and is taking that away from me. Here's some old drawings of her exploring her. It's one of the giant eyes. Is really funny to me. But yeah, we were like trying to find this character for a while. We just knew we wanted this like hunter, you know, and we wanted her to feel like mysterious. That was like an important like option. And I also wanted to toss in this. I'm sure people have seen it. Alex Ahad, the creative director, yeah, of Skullgirls, did like a little skin for us.
The lore for
like
this is TBD, but the general idea is that the Bat Clan worships a god known as Camazotz, and that Bat Clan helmet can take, it can be created and fabricated in a lot of different ways. It's a design that has cultural significance in the Bat Clan. So this could be an ancestor of Akani's that once ruled the region. You know, maybe the Bat Clan was like a power to reckon with. They're not at that height anymore, but I wanted, when I got Alex to design this, I wanted it to evoke some of the deep history of the region. Because one of the kind of working ideas we have for the Kaban region is that all these different tribes, you know, they're kind of themed after different animals, and they had to band together at some point. And so this could be one of the ancestors of Akani.
Yeah, like a lot of the skins and costumes that we want to design, we are doing our best to stay within the realm of Combo Devils and justify it there instead of like kind of throwing in some kind of modern pop culture reference. Like I'm sure that will be something we discuss at some point, but like for now it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be Akani, but it can be like the embodiment of a character that like looks like her, like kind of what Izzy was saying, and you know, and maybe we can explore like, you know, we're still in alpha game and beta, whatever you want to, like we're not in 1.0 is the main point that I'm trying to make. So before like this stuff gets like cemented, we are exploring a lot of it and kind of like showing you guys like our hand in that regard, so you can kind of see our iterative process and design ideas and things like that.
You guys can get that skin on the Kickstarter today.
That's true. That is a tier. You can get the Akani Bat God skin, which we will make. This will happen, but it opens the floodgates for other ones that are in this realm as well. Really quick, I'll go over some like old drawings that I did to explore Akani before we like donned all her stuff. And I just really liked her design, and I like the bratty characters because I like Asuka from Evangelion. She's got a really messed up story, and she's a total ass, but like it's really compelling to me. Xochi at one point had like a weird skull pattern that we were exploring. This like little drawing I feel like inspired that illustration that Izzy did with Akani sitting on the float stone. It's like one of my favorites. Another one I did a long time ago of like her just kind of like hanging out. It's like crazy. I call her the Christmas tree because animating her was a freaking nightmare. But
yeah, that's one of the early designs when she was a little extra.
She had a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of things going on with this design.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, literally, that's what we were looking at, and a lot of like her forward smash is me playing Monster Hunter, and I was like a guy who like used the hammer and you could like swing that sucker around and it'll like throw you and you'll do like a crazy front flip, and I was like, that's gonna be your forward smash. I don't care. Like doing those kind of things. I love like Izzy's drawings of her when she's like in like kind of huntress mode, because they're so condensed in like shapes. You know, you could just see like the triangles, the kind of like action lines of her, just like her whole theme is like movement. You know, she's like Tarzan, moves so fast and stuff and elegantly, and I love that about her as a character. We also wanted to stress the relationship between her and Sochi, so we try to include that element in necessarily non-game animations. This is an old Brian Mann idea of a taunt where Sochi like takes your helmet off, but if you don't have Zochi, you can't do that taunt. So there's limitations on things. But like I like in the windscreen, we had an animator named Katie who did the windscreen for Akani, and they kind of like, you know, bump up against each other because they're pals. Like Akani feels isolated because like she's a vigilante that people were like, yeah, and they're like, oh shoot, we have to pay for your like decisions. Actually, boo, like you're not as cool as you think you are. But maybe some people are like, well, we need it, you know, like otherwise big industry's coming in and screwing up our town. So she's a mix. She's like a gray area, which is like a gray area always is compelling, at least to me. But yeah, this illustration Izzy did is like one of my favorites of this character, for just kind of chilling. The one thing that we also wanted to stress about her as a character is that she does have, like, she comes from a more rural area, but like the Kaban region is not by any means like only tribes people in kind of like a stereotypical idea or something like that. Like they have like varying technology, and it's kind of remnants of Kingsbriar, and like they choose to uphold like their kind of more cultural values like visually, and that's what we like about it. Like I like this image a ton because it's like Akani in her natural state and who she is like in their vigilante state, but she also has this like Walkman, like like we're in the future of like 1992 or whatever, in the same way that like people like when you watch a movie like Blade Runner, the old one, they're in the future, but it just looks like the 80s. Like no matter what, okay, there's flying cars, but you're still talking on like video screens that are like weird DDoS panels and stuff like that. So
you're still getting readouts on paper. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no such thing as email for some reason. Like I love that. I love like being technologically like.
What if you had a Twitter printer?
Oh man,
like
I would.
Their tweets got faxed to you.
I would just jump in front of a bus. I don't think I could handle that reality.
That's how we get our combo doubles updates.
Yeah, I have to fax them to you through like a Twitter post. Justin Nitro, what do you guys have any questions or thoughts?
I'm just astonished at like how it all ties together, and like how you had brought up, Izzy, like the level of like planning that you guys are having, like the fact that all of these characters do, like, they are starting from this base zero and there is so much room to grow, but so much of it is like thought out too. Like it's not like, you know, just like, oh, Akani hangs out in the jungle, yeah, that's why she looks at this. Like, nah, like I know a lot of people had a lot of questions like seeing this character, because she kind of like looks very much so like, oh, what you got going on here? Oh, you got a little bat friend? And like I remember even seeing one person at one point saying like, oh, I thought this character was blind because, you know, like you can't really see her eyes like through the helmet or whatever. But it's cool to like hear, knowing that like, oh, like the reason why you don't see her eyes is because all of her senses are heightened, you know, like there's more like layers like deeper into it, and it's so cool to see. And all the original concept art is so dope. Like that one of her just chilling like behind the rock that you said you drew, Nikita, actually like so fire. Like, oh my god, yeah, that one, that shit is so clean. Like all of them are amazing, but this stuff's too cool.
God, neat. Yeah, Izzy always draws her
no free feet pics.
It's for the whales. They gotta have something.
It's for the whales. Girl like Ikani.
Girl like Ikani.
Shout out Klepto.
Get Klepto and his crazy Ikani meta. How about you, Justin?
Fire. Nothing for me. I'm just loving it. I'm enjoying it.
Awesome. I saw some questions in the chat that I wanted to answer before we started Ikani stuff. I know that Wisdom, who was in our tournament actually just recently, love watching Wisdom play. Is late Jingo Master going to be a potential skin? If we were to ever add a character like Jingo's Master into the game, we would just make a character. Like he's too different, I think, from Jingo. He could share some animations for like damage stuff.
He'd be like Goken in Street Fighter 4. Is that
Yeah.
his name, Goken?
Goken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. He's like Ryu's master.
Yeah.
Actually,
Like
Paul's dead.
You're talking about Oro? Or am I thinking of
Oro's got the one arm, right? The yellow guy. or
Oro's
whatever.
someone different. You're right on Goken. Pretty sure.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be a skin. We don't want to do skins that are like we don't want to do cheap clones or things like that where you just have like a different head on a character. We definitely want to explore like, you know, we can reuse stuff and save time for ourselves to make characters, but we want to like reuse things like that, but or otherwise make them like full characters. And then the other question I liked from Wisdom is like, does it make sense to plan these things out even if people might never see it from a design and a time efficiency perspective? I want to like answer. I want to say yeah, like 100% yes, because when we were designing like the world and characters, like we want to create a diverse cast, but we have to convince you, the audience, that these characters like live in the same world and they're not. We don't have a gimmick of like they're from different video games or they're toys from a toy box or something like that. We could have went in that direction, but Smash already did that. But like in the same way that Rivals has like a cohesive world where all their characters exist, we wanted to explore that. And for Izzy to be able to make like awesome paintings like the one you guys are seeing, like he has to know like why can he include a Walkman like in this painting for Ikani, and it's not an arbitrary decision. Like there's a common theme, I think, in character design that drives me crazy personally is when characters just get arm wraps added to their like forearms randomly. They're just like, here you go, we're gonna bandage your arms, and now you're like, we're just gonna do it. Like, what does that signify? Like, is it like your Ryu and you use those to, like during like boxing matches or whatever, or is it a character that like has those for a reason, or are you just adding arm wraps because they're in, like you just were drawing lines on a character absentmindedly? And we're trying our best when we create a character, create a world, create anything, like we never intended to do these lore streams because we had no idea that people were interested in hearing any of this stuff, but Nitro convinced us that it was like something compelling to listen to, because we created this world for ourselves to justify the characters to like being created so they don't feel arbitrary. So I feel like there is some level of like subconscious when you see a character that you can like get a sense of like there was thought behind it versus like somebody just like made a design that was interesting in that moment of time to them, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I think we want to always go, you know, kind of like several levels lower. On the surface, it could feel that way, but just like the gameplay of Combo Devils, like you can, it's got layers to it, and we want to like always use that ideology when creating these things, because I think that's what like stays with people. We don't have the luxury of like being around creating this game in the like early 90s where there just wasn't that much stuff available in like the game industry. There's a lot more like characters and saturated things, and I feel like we have to do what we can to stand out, and the best way to do that is to just like create this world that feels believable to us and something that we want to be a part of. Because if I can't answer questions, then I start like second guessing things.
I think from a designer standpoint and from like just a new IP and like world building standpoint, I think it's 100% necessary. Like you said, it gives you guys the confidence and the legs to stand on your work and where you want to like go from and like plan and grow. And like also from like a consumer standpoint, it shows that like nah, this world is thought out. Like it's not just like this idea slapped on like a piece of paper, or it's not like, you know, just some gimmick like that's like coming along. Like you guys said, you're building out a world and you're giving these characters their first chapter in their story of, you know, like existing in our universe, let alone their own.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they're trying to, like, we're trying to convince you that this there's a reason to like explore this world. That there's more to it than just like girl with spear, you know, or like karate dog or whatever. Let's see. I saw some other questions. How old is Xochi? You know, I was like, I know Xochi like in my head, and you can correct me here, Izzy, if you want, but Xochi, she's like a bird in regards to her life. Like like birds live a really long time. If you're gonna get a bird, it's gonna like be your roommate for a while. I think Xochi is kind of like in her age is a little bit older than Akani. So if she's like entering her like metaphorical 30s, and while Akani's like in her younger years, but that time dilation could mean different. Like for Xochi, like I have a dog who's like, you know, he's like a middle-aged man, but he still acts like a child. But that's dog. But we also wanted to explore Xochi being like kind of like, I don't know, maybe Xochi's got a little bit more to her than just a regular bat, because she has like this interesting connection with her Xochi's grandma, because Xochi's been around for a while with Xochi.
She's seen some shit.
Xochi's seen things. Yeah, she's been around with Itzel, like Akani's grandma, and Akani kind of, or sorry, Itzel's kind of like her history, and like why she has that spear kind of like tucked away as a family heirloom.
The roster for Akani's family.
I don't have that one. Can you send
me
that?
One? I did.
Yeah.
It's in the folder.
Let me go grab it then. Really
It should have
quick.
been in the folder.
Do you want to look at chat really quick while I look for that?
Yeah, there was a question: would we ever explore these worlds somehow in the game, like single player content? Yeah. So part of the lore stream here for you guys is that we're trying to give you kind of a glimpse at the world that we're building to give us the foundation for the roguelite mode. So all of this stuff that we're designing isn't for no reason. Actually, Wisdom has a really good question, kind of picking off of his question when it comes to like, what's the point of this if no one's going to see it? Well, it's for us, right? It's for us to give us kind of like a foundation to design things. So in order for us to like create a world that's interesting for you all to like explore, we need to understand it ourselves, you know. And I worked on World of Warcraft, and it's really nice when there's a world that's already created, you know, and then we already know what certain cultures are like the troll race and the elf race, and then you have like kind of like a culture kit that you can work with, and you kind of have there's like a vibe to that culture. And I think that's really compelling. So I wanted to bring that to our game. I wanted us to have like regions and cultures with strong identities and histories to them, to give our world, you know, to make it believable, you know. So hope that answers your question. Were you able to find it, Nikita?
I was not. It's not in that folder.
Okay.
I know the image you're talking about, but maybe you can just
answer another question.
I'll answer some questions. You can just send me it before we jump to it.
Along with that, going off of real quick, what Mimi said with I'm always gameplay first more than anything, and I never factor lore and the story into buying or playing fighting games. Even I find this super fascinating. That's one of the things we're trying to not necessarily change, but like address. Like we don't want to just make a fighting game. You know what I mean? We want to have that world around it. We want to build the roguelite that gives you a little bit more in-depth information about it, and it's there for the people that really want to see it. We want that depth to be there. Or if you're just like curious about the background of a character and it's cool for them to be this way. Why is it that way? You can find that information and you can understand and enjoy it. So we want both.
I feel like, yeah, that is a really good answer to that question. Like, we definitely want both, and we definitely want like I have friends who don't play fighting games, but they bought Mortal Kombat just to play the campaign because it's so freaking crazy and weird, and that's fine. I mean, like, that's somebody who doesn't play fighting games, like, purchasing a fighting game purely because the world is like interesting. I think that's what like compelled me to play games, and that's what I got sucked into. I love kind of like envisioning that. And for the sweat lords out there, the game, you could just play it like sweaty as hell as you want, like on PvP. Whether or not Akani is part of whatever clan doesn't matter.
Don't expect any of you guys to care about this stuff. And the fact that you guys do is really cool. It's for us, so that when we build the world, we have context.
Do you want to talk about this image?
Yeah, so these are side characters. Sometimes when I'm trying to figure out a character, I need to like kind of visualize what the people around them are like. So I'll say that this is probably like an earlier iteration of Akani, but I think some of it will still stick around. The lady in the center, village elder, you guys can see that as her grandma, and then her parents there, her father and her mom. And I'm trying to in this lineup, I'm trying to evoke those Mesoamerican Mayan kind of costuming and outfits, but make it feel modern at the same time, so that to address that kind of like, wait a minute, I thought she was just a wild person in the jungle, and it's like no, like there's an intermingling, just like the world today. Like if you look at anywhere, like you look around the world, there are people who are still living in tribes, and then there's like a city, not that far away. So that's kind of what I'm trying to show here, is that clash, that clash of different lifestyles, right? The modern life versus the city life. And there's Uncle Maxi there. Maybe autobiographical a little bit. Maybe I had a slimy uncle. Not going to confirm or deny that. That had something to do with the house being sold, kind of in a shady way. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to deny or confirm that's what this is based off of. But I think the story of grandma's house being sold and family members fighting over that, I feel like that's a common story a lot of people have. And then it also ties to like gentrification and how like money comes in and kind of messes up like the traditional way of things. So that's kind of her story, and I think that's something that we've all experienced, right? We see kind of like how when money comes in, or when prosperity, for who, right? You think it's prosperity, but who's it for, right? So that's kind of the question, or kind of the theme of what we were trying to do with the Akani story.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot of like Akani's an underdog in that regard in some ways. Like she's definitely fighting the system, and like I feel like that every freaking day of my life. I wanted to oh sorry, what's up, Justin?
I was just saying bars. That's real.
Yeah. I'm like that fight is struggle for some more than others. I wanted to answer a few questions about some other questions that come up in chat before we jump to the next character. With the emergence of so much AI content, this is from Pipeman, I think curating a more in-depth world is not only appreciated, but I think it's going to be a new standard again for consumers, knowing that the content is not just shit you made with a prompt, but was made with love. We hope the same. Like I understand AI is just like here. It's like here, we can't escape it. It's gonna exist. We didn't use any AI at all for this game whatsoever. Mostly due to the fact that it didn't.
AI. This is before.
It didn't exist. And we won't be using it going forward because there's no point. Like it just regurgitates stuff that already exists, and it's like, who cares? Like I'd rather just like create something from my head than.
Yeah, I won't lie. I've tried it, and I'm just like, I feel like I could have come up with something cooler than this. So I'm just like, I might as well just use my brain instead of using a prompt. So I don't know. I like, it's not it like it kind of takes away the point of being a creative.
Yeah, like it's the fun part. The fun part isn't writing a sentence and then having it like generate something. The fun part is creating the world. At least like how I see it. And I'm sure people like, we're not trying to gatekeep anything. If you want to use AI to generate your world, it's like go for it. Like whatever. But have thought behind it, you know, like have like a don't just like create like some macaroni for people to consume. Like do a little bit more with like your abilities. Like I wasn't born into this like, oh, I'm an animator or whatever the argument is for people that do this kind of stuff. Like none of us were born that way. We just had to like learn and struggle all the same. And it's not that everybody has to learn and struggle. It's just like you should understand that when you generate a prompt that says paint me in Miyazaki style, there's a difference between generating a lifeless prompt and somebody who does fan art that turns you into a Miyazaki like picture, because they had to study that. They had to like go through the notions to like earn the respect and like understand the process. You're just kind of throwing an image out there. It's like, well, you know, it's like it's fine, but it's not. You're not learning anything from there. Let's see. We have a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with chat, but I think there's just discussions right now.
Cool. Why don't we move to the next character?
We move to the next.
Oh wait, no, sorry. There's stuff from Wisdom. Hold on. I see. Well, there's a question from Wisdom that says, I haven't played Street Fighter, but is adding Echo Fighter like characters something of interest at all? And this was in reference of Django's Master. Actually, Wisdom has a few questions that I'll go through, but like, so we do have a philosophy for Echo Fighters, clone characters, whatever you want to call them. We want to save on time in production, where on things like like the whole hurt system in animations, like our characters are pretty heavy with animations. I think like the baseline for any Combo Devils character is like 200 animations, and that doesn't include like any of their unique stuff to their character. That's just like the raw stuff, like move around, jump, like universal mechanics, like cling the wall, get hit, knock down, clank, shield, like all this stuff that every single character does. Like the baseline is like 200 animations, and then from there we can explore like all their stuff, like of what they do, their specials, their like baseline also includes neutrals. Everybody has jabs, everybody has tilts, everybody has smashes or strongs or whatever you want to call them, but specials are always different, and unique properties per character are different. Nobody gets on a skateboard except for Shy, for example. And also like air versions of every special, and like supers are a whole thing. So there's a lot that goes into every character. For our Echo characters or data or like clones or whatever, we don't want to just like swap Jingo with a different animal head. If we do that, we want to like create our own model, and then we want to explore like more like kind of give them their own personality. Like when you change the idle animation for a character, you kind of subsequently affect like every single animation. But if a lot of the work is done for you, then you have to do minimal work to like fix it. So we want to like make Echo characters feel similar, but truly have their own like stance, in the same way that Fox and Wolf are like, yeah, they're like Spaceys, but they're pretty different from each other versus like Fox, Falco, and Melee. One other question that Wisdom asked, would we ever explore these worlds somehow in game, like single player content, more maps in game from their homelands? I'm so happy you asked this question because one of the reasons why we're like pushing, like kind of exploring like better funding goals for ourselves is that like right now we have a kind of like a prototype of like this roguelite mode, which kind of showcases like to players like, can you imagine what we could do if we could do this in our spare time with as little resources as we had when we created it. The whole point of like doing these lore talks is partially for Nitro, probably mostly for Nitro, so you can like learn about our world, but also to justify like that it's not just a trust me bro scenario. It's just that we have limited resources and manpower, and we're doing the best we can with what we got, and we want to offer like substance to people that don't just want to play against Pipe Man and get bodied by the Achilles of Death or whatever. Like we want to like give people like something else to look forward to that isn't like an afterthought. But the reality is like it takes time to make these things, which we're very willing to do because we're committed. But we wanted to somehow showcase that and explain it to our audience, hopefully with some kind of like integrity, because you guys don't know who we are. We haven't made anything, and there's like I don't expect trust right off the bat. We have to earn that trust from our audience, and we will do what we can to get there. And like I play the game, but not at a level like Izzy or Cordell or Nitro, or Justin. Like I'm probably a lot weaker in that regard, but I would definitely play a mode that explores this world, and I could play that with my fiance, I could play that with my friends, and hopefully other people can do the same, where they can kind of get more out of it other than like punch the Goomba and go to the end of the level. Like there's, who cares, you're Mario or whatever character, just punch the Goomba. And we don't want that. We don't want that simplicity. We want to kind of like, we figured that like, as for Wisdom's previous question, like if we're already building this world to answer questions for ourselves, then I feel like it's very valid to allow other people to explore the world we created if they're interested in it. And if there's enough interest that we can kind of like create something, I think it'll be interesting if Combo Devils is known for that. And just so happens you can also play like an Ultimate Sweatlord online, because in 1995 they released a game called StarCraft that was literally the case. Like I fell in love with StarCraft because of the campaign missions and like the sweet cinematics. When I had to watch Phoenix die, that was heartbroken as a child. And then in Brood War, when I had to play Kerrigan to go back and kill him, that was even worse. That still scarred me, and that was like in 1997. And those ladders, like, yeah, well, sorry if you haven't played Brood War. It's fine, he comes back in StarCraft 2 again. But it during that time, it's like that's why I played that game. But it just so happened it had a very competitive ladder system that people in South Korea still play to this day with much higher viewership than StarCraft 2, because Blizzard, like, because StarCraft is at this point like chess. Like they made the last balance patch that happened was in like 1999. They did like a graphical like memory fix, and that's about it. And like they're in 2009 or whatever, but or later than that. But regardless, it's just like I think there's like an opportunity to like build that kind of idea behind this game, and that's what we're pushing for. It's just, we have to be known for something, and if we create characters, like the PvP makes a lot of sense. This like thing in the background, this map and this world is like a whole undertaking in itself. Anyway, that's my soapbox rant. I will move on from that. Thank you for listening.
All right, let's go to the next character.
Get out of here and go to Shy.
All right. I don't know if Cordell's here, but you can just pipe in, Cordell, if anything strikes your fancy. All right. So, Shy lives in the dense metropolitan city of Chibaba on the west side of Galachenko. He is the breadwinner for his ill mother and younger brother. He got a job being a delivery boy for a big corporation called Insomnia Corp, kind of like the Walmart, Amazon, like the mega corporation that runs the city, and quickly became the best delivery boy. Like he could get through the crazy tunnels and streets like no one else can. So he had the best times, the best scores, of any delivery boy, so he was top. Insomnia Corp issues these high-tech masks that are used as navigational tools for the city. So you use it as kind of like a GPS. So Shai used the mask to help him navigate through the city. And since his mom and his brother are kind of dependent on him, he has to work overtime to make ends meet to support them both. But even with overtime, he doesn't have a lot of money in the bank. So he became friends with this cranky inventor who lived next door, named Dr. Archie or Dr. Archimedes. And because Shai was so resourceful and was really good at what he did, Dr. Archimedes eventually noticed his potential and decided he would make a good apprentice. So one day, like when Shai was doing a little run for Archimedes, Shai came back and Archimedes gave Shai a gift. And Shai was like, "What is this?" And it was like this egg-like thing. And inside the egg, Shai clicked a button and a little holographic cat came out. And Shai was kind of like, "Whoa, this is cool," but in his head he's like, "Man, this is lame. Like holographic pets, everyone's got those." But the difference with this one was that you could feel it, you could touch it, and it was warm, and it even acted as if it was alive, like it was almost like a digital Neopet. So Shai was like, "Awesome, thanks for the gift." So anyways, Shai, doing his normal job for Insomnia Corp, one day he had one more delivery to do for Insomnia Corp, and that delivery would promote him to Associate Delivery Boy 2. But unfortunately, this would be his last job for the company. The drop-off location for this package was at an old dockside warehouse. It was a frequent delivery site that Shai had dropped things off, but this particular delivery was at night, which is very, uncharacteristic for the location. Anyways, when he approached the gate to go inside to make his delivery, his mask suddenly glitched out and shut off, and it stopped working, and he lost the marker for where he needed to drop off his package. No problem. He knows where the drop-off site is. But all of a sudden, when he passed the gate, he started seeing armed guards. Why don't you pull up Shai's concept art? But all of a sudden, past the gate, he was immediately startled by armed guards, all with Insomnia Corp masks, loading cargo into a massive unmarked military caravan. He's never seen anything like this before. And to get a better view, he scaled a shipping container. And looking at what he was seeing, he realized that he probably shouldn't be seeing this. Like, he was like, "I don't think I'm supposed to see this." Suddenly, a glowing beam of light bursts up in the horizon, far, far away, and it illuminates the night sky. And because of that beam of light, the guards see Shai spying on their operation, and they snatch his ass, they handcuff him, and they start talking in a garbled language because they also have Insomnia Corp masks. And when someone else has a mask on and you don't, you can't hear what they're saying. And they talk to each other, they nod their heads, and then they put another mask on his head, knocking him out unconscious. Shai has a terrible nightmare, and the next morning he wakes up in Archimedes' flat, like on his couch. And Archimedes explains that he found him wandering around the alleyways, like, dizzy, and gives Shai like a bowl of cereal, and reveals that Archimedes also used to work at Insomnia Corp. He's an ex-employee there, and that what he experienced was that his puppet protocol failed. And the puppet protocol is basically this mind control function that the mask has, where they can take over the bodies and minds of the workers temporarily to do whatever illegal activity that they're doing, and then like wipe their memory afterwards. And for whatever reason, Shai's mask stopped working, and he saw something that he shouldn't have, and he still doesn't quite remember what happened that night. So anyways, Archimedes like, "No problem." And then so anyway, Shai freaks out. He checks his mask and he's like, I was just gonna get promoted. And he looks at the mask and it says he got fired, essentially. Like he lost his job. He was suspended. Basically, his promotion was canceled. He was suspended 3 weeks with no pay, and he was freaking out because that meant his family was going to get evicted. And then Archimedes is like, "Don't worry about it. I got a job for you." And he goes into a dark room and he pulls out this blue gauntlet. And Archimedes puts on the gauntlet and he manifests the 64-sided polygon. And Shai is able to touch it and feel it. And it's like the holographic cat. But it's even more powerful. Like Archimedes is like, this is powerful. This device, it's ancient. It's more powerful than even I understand. And you can have it. And a year of rent if you do this little job for me. And Shai's like, okay, tell me about it. So with the press of a button, Archimedes like presses a button underneath his table. Then this giant widescreen monitor descends from the ceiling. And then there's a map that shows our world map, basically showing this crazy delivery route where Shai has to go from all the way from Chibaba through the blasted plains, down through the Delamanchi cliffs to go find the Olmekian oracle to ask for an audience with the Olmec so he can drop off a package. And Archimedes shows a package, and it's just this little locked container about the size of a shoebox. So Shai, thinking about it, he's like, I'll do it. I'll take the job.
That is Shai. That last bit where he's like, I'll do it. That's like Shai in a nutshell. But that's also kind of, I feel like it reminds me of Cordell.
I'm back now, by
the way.
the
odds. Yeah, welcome
Valid.
back.
You're valid.
The odds are stacked against me. I don't care. You want to add anything to this story, Cordell, now that you're back?
No, you're good. I was listening. I was on my phone in the other room. I was just taking a little break.
I really enjoyed Shai's character because he kind of reminds me of like the struggles of like a lot of just people kind of going through their motions of like trying to exist in their like wherever they're at, you know. He kind of is relatable in that regard. He's kind of in over his head, but he's doing his best, and he has an opportunity. So he's not somebody that like backs down from challenges. He takes them head on, and that's like that's one of the best things about this character. He just kind of like he's always seems to be kind of zoom in here.
Yeah, he's very much like, oh, that sounds like a terrible idea. Like, when do we start? Kind of thing, you know. Like he's just like any challenge is kind of just like he'll get through it.
He's so you want that character to be on your team in that regard. Like you want him to be on your team. And did you mention Izzy in your spiel about Shai? Did you mention a certain somebody he runs into Chibaba City?
Oh, I'm gonna reveal that in the next one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big part of his story.
We'll move on from that. This drawing, Cordell.
Oh yeah, that old thing. I had
this
more.
Was like this is what we have for the show right now, but it's a drawing from Cordell where it was like that he showed Izzy to kind of get Izzy's like. I like the two side by side actually. Let's do that. The power of an art director, where they can take your idea and bring it to like a visual language that like really speaks to you, and I love that about this idea.
Big time,
like his
yeah.
old I like his old mask. Reminds me of Ghost in the Shell a lot, and his like 80-liter like backpacking backpack.
Yeah, I couldn't go like, well, he's got like a skateboard and a backpack, and I couldn't just like pitch that to Izzy. It was just like more like, show me what you are talking about, because none of this makes sense. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll draw it. I'll try.
And you were so annoyed about that. He's like, I can't believe you're making me draw.
Yeah, I was like, how could you make me? Now I'm just like, of course that makes sense. Like I am stupid to not like think that I could get away with like not drawing it first or something.
But just like Shai, Cordell's like, this is insane. Why would you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do it. He just like does the things, and that's like it's like that's what this character is. He's just like, this is like totally stacked against me, but I'll do it anyway. And when I prove you wrong, like, you owe me, you know, a sandwich or whatever. He's not somebody that grovels in glory, but he also is happily like takes down any challenge that kind of gets his way. That's why he's just a kid, but he's just like, oh, I have to traverse unknown territory into like an unknown land with unknown dangers. Yeah, whatever. Like Chibaba City has already like trained me for that. Like, yeah, tenfold, you know. Do you want to mention this, Cordell?
Oh yeah, that's Ghoul's Gruel. We made a little what was it, taco dumpling shop, and my cat Ghoul is like the inspiration behind who the chef is. Ghoul's Gruel. We actually have a sticker of that in the game right now, of Ghoul's Gruel. With my cat my cat has a blind eye.
I'll pull it up.
Check your messages real quick. Toss it in. It's another Cordell sketch that I think is like closer to where he is now. It's essentially like the same design.
This is like the. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This was like the initial concept, and then like.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one I liked that I did. I was like, that's where I put my whole effort into it.
Yeah, like that. It's funny because like Cordell's not alone in this process of like when we were designing characters in the early stages. Like I used to draw more often. But like Izzy really made sure that we weren't talking out of our asses in that regard. He's like, if you want a character in this game, then you better like give me visual language.
Yeah.
Because like I can't just fabricate whatever sentences you have in your head. Like I need you to put in the legwork for like these designs. And I did a ton of like stuff for characters I pitch and things like that. And at the time I was like frustrated because I was like, I'm just an animator, what am I doing? But like it's something that's like a lesson learned in time that made me respect the process a lot more, especially on a team that's like small. You don't really have that opportunity in like big AAA games. Like you're just kind of forced to be your cog in your machine, which makes a lot of sense. But like we're in an indie studio and we're kind of all wearing different hats. It's why these characters I feel like become more personable, because like it's not just Izzy like taking the entire workload on his back. It's like he does like the majority of it. He does the execution. He does like the art direction and finalize everything and does these characters. But like he expects us to also like put in our effort and put in our ideas, and more than just like yelling like words at him, because that does nothing for an art director in my opinion. And I learned that like through his process in the same way Cordell did. And I think the character Shy is so strong because of that. Because if I switch these two images, and just put these two on screen, like you can see that a lot of this like idea was built from like Cordell wanted to communicate this character from a personal place, and I think that like that visual language like kind of makes its way. Like obviously it'll get changed for the art style of the game, but like the narrative is still there, and that's what people connect with. It's better than putting like random arm wraps on your character or whatever. Like you know,
really
like that.
Arm wraps.
I what was it? Sonic DX.
Oh yeah, they're like, let's just give Sonic a
Boom.
brown.
Sonic
Boom.
Boom.
Like Knuckles just has a million bandages, right?
I enjoyed the content of that show because Knuckles says some deep shit, but like the armbands drove me crazy. Yeah, like I'm not hating on it. It's just the character design. I'm like, come on, guys.
Being a Sonic fan is rough, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's so tough out here.
It is hard. Like I'm sorry, guys, that you have to deal with that, but it is a thing.
Hey, we just got a banger kart racer. It's all good.
Yeah.
True, it is fire.
Like seriously,
It's like they're always trying to like reinvent it, and it's like, nah, dude, don't. It's fine. Like Sonic's great. Like you don't need to reinvent it. Just do more shit with Sonic. We don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Yeah,
We don't need
Mimi.
All we're asking for.
Mimi quoting Knuckles, just because I'm a meathead doesn't mean I'm not a feminist. I love like that kind of dialogue. But we want to reflect that kind of ideology in everything, not just the dialogue.
For sure.
Yeah, but like here's some expression sheets from Shy and him just kind of like without the mask, because you don't really see him with the without the mask on like in the game. But if we got to explore like a more narrative version of this game, these are things that like we would need to reference, and whether or not people see these things anytime soon is irrelevant, because like you see him at least in the intro, and this, you know, like he takes off his mask briefly, he does, or like in his windscreen, like they are relevant to that degree, and those little moments like need to come from somewhere. They need to come from like some kind of like grounded, like when you know Brad does a lot of the cinematics for Shy, he needs to have like some frame of reference like of who this person is, and we need to generate that for him, because he shouldn't have to like guess it on the spot, or else people are going to feel like it's arbitrary. This is a really cool illustration. Izzy, do you want to talk about it?
So this is just kind of like a snippet of what Chibaba City is like. You know, you can see the Insomnia Corp Tower in the background kind of looming over everything, and it's supposed to be kind of like it kind of shows you how Chibaba is very industrial. You know, we've got these like food carts that are on these like trolleys that kind of move around the city, because you guys are gonna hear this first here. We want to eventually do like a food truck stage where you're fighting on the top of like a food truck, maybe a taco truck, and then it's like kind of like on a little pivot, and it moves around the city. This is Shy, you know, coming back from work or something, and making his way through the neighborhood, and people are just getting some late night eats, and yeah, just trying to give like a slice of life of like kind of Chibaba City. It's a little bit based off of you know, when I lived in SoCal, Santa Ana, LA area. It's supposed to kind of feel like that, with that kind of like when it gets nighttime in that part of the country, like it's never really nighttime because there's so much like, I don't know, smog in the air, and there's always some lights on. So I feel like Chibaba would never really go dark. It would there would always be lights going, and there would always be like lit signs and all kinds of nightlife going on, nightclubs. Like the city as like as much as there's like poverty in Chibaba, there's a lot going on. Like there's a lot of it's like bustle and hustle, like lots of business going on. It's the business hub of our world.
Yeah, I think like part of what we want to achieve with Chibaba is density in a unique way, and I think part of like this idea of like delivery service trucks being off like the beaten path and being on these like trolley systems that are kind of integrated in the superstructure of like the city, I think is fascinating, especially with like the idea of Insomnia Corp being like a prevalent thing. Like Shy works for this corporation, which you know, is like obviously an echo to like modern society of like, I buy stuff off Amazon all the time. People go to Walmart all the time for its convenience, and you know, these guys act like it's not a monopoly, but it kind of is. And it's just like we're kind of trapped in that because it's kind of hard to not buy things off Amazon. And maybe the modern, like the younger generations are rebelling against that and like buying, you know, not buying digital media or buying tangible media and things like that. But it's definitely like a kind of an ode to that, where like things feel like really claustrophobic on purpose. And we wanted to do sci-fi with our game, but we didn't want to do unhinged sci-fi that is just like borderline magic, where everything's like sleek and sexy like Mass Effect. We wanted to kind of gatekeep the technology in a unique way, where like, yeah, there's some elements that are kind of different, but you know, people still have to deal with some sort of tangible idea, like technology. Like maybe people still have like, you know, before we got into touch screens on cell phones, people had like tactile buttons, and that was just like a thing. It was just like normal. So we wanted to add concept of like, what is Punkzilla's version of cyberpunk in this world, and what does that mean? Because if you can have, you know, referencing Blade Runner again, for those who don't know, like old Blade Runner, not just like the most recent one, if you can have a world that is designed around like this idea that it's like it's the future, but there's still the 80s. We wanted to explore that. What does that mean for us, and how do we justify that? And what kind of cool designs can we come from that, where we have like this urban jungle, but it's not Mass Effect. You know, it's still like kind of in this relatable way. He still has a skateboard. He doesn't have a hoverboard. But in Back to the Future, they had hoverboards, which was funny to me.
Nah, it's crazy, like the unique design of like you have the trucks on the side of the walls, and they actually like it's just a unique form of travel that is like, you know, it gives that futuristic, but like you said, like still within the times, like sort of feel. It is insane. But I have to say, my boy is hitting the meanest side B right now. Like, boy, he got that slow move. He's about to go crazy.
Shy went through a lot of iterations. I wanted to show some of them where he was like in the exploratory phase. He was kind of more a mischievous character. Cordell is a fan of like Majora's Mask and like the Skull Kid and that like kind of trickster archetype, and part of that was like in Shy's early design, but we also wanted to like, you know, make him a little bit more relatable.
Yeah, I mean, like Majora's Mask itself is obviously like a huge inspiration in my life as well, just because like I truly like grasped onto it as a kid. So yeah, there's a lot of inspiration of like Majora's Mask or even Geno from Super Mario RPG. And you're gonna love this, like Justin too. I mean, you probably already know this.
Yeah.
Probably told you a million times, but like, yeah, the whole inspiration behind like puppetry and like wearing a mask and all that stuff, it worked really well into who Shy is. You know, Shy. His name is literally Shy, right? He wears a mask to kind of be this like this kind of anti-hero kind of kid. You know, but like he hides who he is, and when he's wearing a mask, he kind of acts different. He can act as whoever he wants to. But when the mask is off, or on his friends, he's more of himself. He's more like Shy and all that stuff. So yeah, it's, you know, pun intended with Shy. But like, yeah, the whole story behind Insomniac Corp kind of, you know, taking over their workers to do like nefarious deliveries and illegal stuff. Yeah, a lot of that is like to do with Majora's Mask and like puppetry and stuff like that. It's a very evil thing to do. So it's really cool to kind of have that backstory to him. And like, you know, I love Geno. I loved Geno, like his design as a kid, and you know, I really wanted him to Smash, and just like the whole like the cool like, you know, finger gun gauntlet kind of thing. There's a lot of inspiration there for Shy. So you can kind of see that now that I probably talk about it, right?
It comes together well. How much you want for that skin though?
For the what?
How much?
A Geno skin?
How much?
Oh, the evil.
Oh my god! Wait, no. How much for that? What? Oh my god!
There was a lot of iterations on this character and process of who he is. And
zoom in.
And, you know. I'll zoom into like the top row and stuff. You know, of this archetype of like the mysterious trickster, like the Loki, the Skull Kid.
Yeah, Cordell hated all of these.
Jokester.
He's like, this is all trash. Go back and draw more.
Damn.
Dude, Jay has so much.
No,
like,
he's lying. He's lying. I didn't hate them. But I was like, this is too evil for like who Shy is. You know, this is so.
Yeah.
Which, you
Okay,
know,
but a skin though, like, yo.
Maybe
or a
if
character or an enemy. Who knows?
a shadow.
Hey,
Clone.
for the H, we got the Skull Kid float going on.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, like it's so good.
So good. Yeah.
Yo, S got that like Danny Phantom vibe on it too. Like, that
Does,
shit's
yeah. You can
crazy.
see like a lot of the Link with the long like, you know, head tunic thing as well too. Like we actually incorporated a little bit of that into Shy's design as well. Like that long hat thing.
His hoodie extended.
Yeah, his hoodie
for a
goes
while.
back
I
a
like
little
the little beanie one at L. That one's tight.
Yeah, L's sick.
The plug at the end of it.
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
plug.
Oh, dude, this is crazy.
Shy went through the
I need
biggest
them all.
iteration
I need
process.
all these as
You need
skins
every single
right
one.
now. This is every single one. Holy. Yo.
The-
Fucking rocket power,
all
dude.
the inspiration for Rocket
What's his
Power and Jamie Hewlett. The guy who did Skullgirl, or sorry, Gorillas. This one, that's what this reminds me of.
That one specifically reminds me of Rocket Power, like the main character.
Yeah, the
or,
what's his name? Squid.
Yeah, Squid.
Oh,
Looks like Squid. Yeah.
Okay. Like a mixture of the two.
It does.
But overall, I really do love the design of Shy, because like it's a very, very good example of how like you might not know the background of a character, but it really just does shine through with how the character is designed. Like I really also kind of identify with Shy a lot because of his backstory. You know, like the idea of coming from, you know, like rough background, rough area, you know, and you know you do the shit you have to do because you have to do it. You know, you something might look like impossible, but you just put that fucking mask on and you just do the shit because you have to.
Dude.
So just like seeing Shy the first time, just that came through.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's it.
I don't think anybody knows this, but I like finalized Shy in his story the day of my mom's heart attack, when I was with her in the hospital while she was recovering, while she was like sleeping. I was finalizing who he was. So like that was like one of the worst times of my life, and I was sitting there like writing, you know, Shy. So that was like that's a crazy thing, because yeah, during my mom's heart attack is like when he kind of came alive.
Yeah,
Cordell usually like he's definitely involved in the lore session, but he takes more of like an advisor role. But when it came to Shy, and you know that incident happened, he suddenly had this like 10-page document of the backstory.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it is in the final version.
I was in the hospital for like 72 hours straight, dude. I didn't leave. I didn't want my mom to. Yeah, it was rough, but yeah, it helped.
It's a reality of these characters that I think there's definitely some that have more personal experiences than others, but I think each character, to some degree, I think we have to pull from our experiences, or at least people that we know that went through like experiences that maybe we didn't go through ourselves, but like can communicate them in a way, and I think that's what makes them relatable. Like Shy, to me, yeah, Cordell was involved in the process, but like he doesn't feel like a character I can't relate to. He feels like something like I know that person even before I knew Cordell. Like I knew people that went through struggles. Like I had my own struggles that like I went through as well, that kind of like echoed Shy and like his upbringing. I would say Shy is a much more confident person than I was at his age. I was a lot more shy than Shy, but I knew kids like him. You know, I knew people like that.
Yeah, same here. I was an incredibly shy person all the way up until I like was in college, basically. So, and then I put on a mask to like I'm a business game dev person now. I'm like, you know, extrovert. So that's where a lot of that came from too. He's an extrovert with the mask on.
Puffy ass jacket. So
yeah,
that's what I did here. Made the jacket super puffy.
I love that.
Yeah, these go so hard. If we had like one monkey paw, just one finger goes down, create every single variation skin as a character in the game right now, just like they're all done. One wish, get everything that's dope in here. These are so cool.
Super cool.
I remember when we were drawing these, Izzy, and I was just like blown away. I was like, all these are freaking tight. Like, oh, it was too cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Figuring him out.
Do you have anything else to add on the Shy compendium?
The Shy Guy.
The Shy Guy. Cordell.
I do not.
Any questions from Justin or Nitro? Or any comments?
Nah, I'm just blown away.
Is there a sketch?
I didn't even know the tidbit about his inventor. Like, what's the name of his neighbor again?
Archimedes. So the name is kind of a work in progress, but we're going with Archimedes for now because that to me like kind of reminds me of who the character to me resembles. So you know we'll finalize that going forward, but right now Archimedes. You could think of him like Dr. Archie. Maybe me and Nikki were thinking maybe he calls him Doc Arc or Dr. Archie or something like that.
Well, like Archimedes is what Dr. Archimedes tells Shy his name is. What his real name is, that's TBD of like what we want to explore.
Okay.
Let's question the chat.
One other question. Yeah. Is there?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're all good.
Nitro, go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, okay. So there's one dude on a poster in Chibaba. Is there any info we can get on that? Not in that photo, but it's on the actual stage.
On a poster? Is it the one that says like no or something?
Something
Oh,
along
in the
those
actual
lines.
stage.
Yeah, in the actual stage, he's the
poster. There's a
On the
he's
stage.
just-
there's two. I will boot it up with the swiftness, but there's two like photos of him where you could see him in like different spots.
Really?
Yeah, he's just like he's like in the background, but he looks potentially associated with insomnia. I didn't want to, say anything I'm not supposed to, but that's at least my guess.
It's in the graffiti,
As a super
Cordell.
fan.
It's in the graffiti. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the graffitis.
Is it the one? I have to look at it to remember where it's posted.
I'm getting here super fast. I'm about to go in the photo mode.
While that's happening, we'll go. I know Wisdom's got a bunch of questions.
Not the time.
And then there's some other like you can wait. Do you have it up, Nitro?
No, it crashed. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take a look at it real quick and see. Cause I got all the graffiti right here. It's probably it's
like the poster.
It's not the poster that says
It's
don't.
the giant.
It's a giant
with the dude on it, right?
Is it just like a silhouette of a dude?
I thought it
I'm
was,
looking.
like somebody in the universe potentially.
I mean, maybe.
It's
possible. It could just be like just a fun thing we did.
It's the Don't poster, and that's a cop.
Yeah, that was just like a cop. If that's what
it's
you're.
just okay. That's just a standard cop.
Yeah.
I'm looking on your screen, Nitro.
Oops.
Oh yeah.
Camera mode. We're gonna zoom on over. Yeah.
Oh,
this dude.
this guy.
He's just,
Yeah.
just a cop.
That's the cops.
This guy.
That's
Yeah.
because they're
always watching.
Chibaba's a pretty authoritarian place, or at least the cops don't want you to break the law, so they put up these signs.
Don't.
I was gonna say. I noticed there's the second one over.
That's just game dev
Yeah,
stuff.
somewhere
Like,
around
we just
another
use
way.
more
Yeah.
and more.
Okay,
Yeah.
bet.
There-
I didn't know if maybe like the logo on his head was alluding to anything or
I mean, who knows?
whatnot, but
Maybe.
okay.
You're asking the right questions. But we're not gonna answer them.
Perfect.
Not,
Alright, that's
not
fine.
this,
That's
not this
fine
time
with me.
around. But
That's fine with me.
yeah.
WTF? That's my dad.
I mean, definitely the idea behind like this poster is like, there's a lot like everybody's so familiar with like the obey like kind of like tags that are like common in real life, and if you haven't read the book 1984, go read it. It's very topical and relevant to this day and age. But it's also inspired by a lot of those things like runaway authoritarianism. I'm going to run through some questions on chat really quick before we dive into the last character. But Wisdom had some things that he wanted to ask. Sonic Boom is fire because of the random arm wraps, though. My only criticism of the arm wraps is that everybody has them. I would like if one character donned them, all right, but all of them, I feel like it's a trick. But I still think Sonic Boom's got a lot more to it as a piece of media. Gino and Majora's Mask inspiration is cool. These are just any skins for Achilles. We haven't talked about Achilles yet. Soon. I think oops, sorry guys. Let's see. I saw. Taco Bell truck. There was also something previous about like the previous character or Akane. I think that Nathan was saying, what is the animal god of Akane's rival? I believe it's Quetzalcoatl or something, like a serpent.
It's like a lizard creature.
Yeah, it's like a serpent lizard. Let's see, Polygon Punch. Alright, I think the rest is just kind of commentary. Insomnicorp is on the nose, yeah. I mean, it's meant to be. If you, like, I think inadvertently, like, Shy's entire, like, story kind of reminds me of a book called Snow Crash. And if you haven't read that, I also recommend reading Snow Crash for any nerds who are into modern day cyberpunk. Started by films like The Matrix. Snow Crash like predates a lot of that stuff, and so does Neuromancer. But Snow Crash reminds me of Shy's story more so because it's a lot more like Shy's story is like kind of fun and roller coaster adventure, and and seeing this kid kind of go through how is he gonna survive in this like world that really wasn't meant for him. But he's a fighter, so he's gonna figure it out, you know. Let's see, Blair. No, we're not gonna. I think we're gonna do one more character after this, and I think we're gonna call it because the stream's running super long because we like to yap. More so, I like to yap. Yeah, let's go on to that. You wanna talk about our main contender here, Mr.
The main character.
The main character of his own movie.
All right.
Big tourney winner Achilles.
Exactly, big tournament winner Achilles.
Has he won a tournament yet? Is this his first one?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm asking, is this the first one? What I meant is this the
Combo
first?
Breaker?
The first one. Combo Breaker. He won. Combo Breaker. He won. Oh yeah. Gulgish. Right.
The real main character of Combo
So Achilles is a golem. In our world, if you guys missed the first stream, there are many different species of golems, and Achilles is a Vitruvian golem. And the Vitruvian golems, their thing is that they're immaculately carved. They're beautiful. They are charismatic. They are charming, and that's kind of like that. That's how they've been. That's their being. That's how they are. And Achilles is from Olympus Mons, which is one of the oldest Vitruvian golem kind of cities, hideouts, kind of like one of their areas. A little backstory: the Vitruvian golems were basically kicked out of Terramere because they were too much trouble for everyone. They were causing too much kind of political divide. You know, you can kind of see them as like very pompous, very rich, kind of like Nero or just the most corrupt rulers in all of history. Like, kind of imagine they're very narcissistic, right? And that's kind of their society. And you can also kind of imagine their society like a bunch of Greek gods that are just high on power and high on being like immaculate and beautiful. And so that's kind of their culture. In Vitruvian culture, the way they settle debates is the senators are kind of the rulers of Vitruvian golem society, and they settle their debates with competitions. And the debates are mediated through displays of strength, speed, debate, and fashion, all like the Olmec trials. So the Vitruvians hold their own version of it, but it's golems only, you know, because they're kind of like that. The lower class golems bet on these competitions, but everyone kind of knows that they're fake, they're staged, right? The winners are already kind of predetermined. And Achilles, he was one of the most popular and favorite champions in the Vitruvian kind of like these displays, these like competitions. He was a favorite because, you know, he's Achilles. He's awesome. He's sculpted for perfection. He's aerodynamic. He's the reason they invented slow motion. In fact, he's an international celebrity. The Vitruvian golems broadcast their games to the whole world. So people tune in and they love watching these competitions. And they specifically love tuning in to watch Achilles destroy people. But the thing is, the senators grew very bored of Achilles. Achilles kind of outgrew his usefulness, and so they decided, we're done with Achilles, we're going to choose a new favorite. And the new favorite was the son of one of the senators, and Achilles was to have one final match to kind of be the goodbye to his career, and he was offered a lavish retirement in exchange. They're like, all right, all you got to do is throw this match, and then you can go and retire in this lavish golden palace, and all your needs are dealt with. Also, while all that was happening, the Senators pushed a bunch of propaganda that Achilles was past his prime. So for the first time, there were bets against Achilles in this last match. So the match happens, and Achilles, being Achilles, refused to throw the match and completely destroyed the Senator's son to a pulp. And everyone roared with applause. They were all excited to see their favorite win. And Achilles was happy to win, but the Senators were very displeased with Achilles' transgression. So they found him guilty of racketeering, undergoing a gambling racketeering, undergoing a performance enhancing procedure, which broke their sacred code of conduct. By the way, that enhancing procedure is why he has all those metal parts on his body. The golems don't naturally have that; they have to like fuse it to their bodies. And when you compete in these competitions, that's actually illegal, but everyone just kind of ignores that. But because it's illegal, it kind of gives the Senators any reason that they need to basically like find you guilty, right? So because Achilles did that, they judged and sentenced him to 1,000 years of exile. And so Achilles was kicked out of his home, and he left the place the only place he ever really knew. So he hitchhiked around, and he eventually found out that Chibaba City had these competitive sports arenas. And so he found his way there. And as a celebrity, finding work as a coach was pretty easy. I mean, he's like this celebrity, right? So everyone was dying to work with Achilles and try to sign deals and contracts with him. And so he eventually worked with a local entrepreneur to sign a licensing deal that put his name on a bunch of gyms all over Chibaba, and he even took over a coliseum, which I think I sent that to Nikita. Yeah, he even took over a coliseum for the games, for these like competitions. Achilles was gonna run these things, but he got bored of it. The humans are very delicate, and so he just couldn't really. Like, he was just bored of it. He missed being in the ring. He missed being competitive. He does not want to coach people. Like, that's just not his calling. Like, he's a competitor, not a coach. So during his time in Chibaba, he actually befriended a young delivery boy who was pretty good at tinkering, and this delivery boy helped him install the holo projectors at his coliseum. And in exchange, Achilles gave the young delivery boy free self-defense classes for life. So they've kind of got a little connection there. Anyways, one day Achilles was coaching someone, spotting someone doing some chest presses. All of a sudden, beam of light goes off, immediately drops the fucking weight on the guy, and just goes out the door because he knows exactly what that is. Because Achilles is pretty old. He's like, the Olmec trials are back, and it's time for me to shine. And he just kind of rocks towards Terramir.
Perfect.
That's his story.
He sees the call to action and immediately goes for it. Doesn't matter what's happening. I don't care what set you're on. Out.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this character. I love Achilles. Was like one of the funnest characters to work on because like from one perspective you can say like, yeah, I like Captain Falcon, but like when I played Smash, I played like Fox and Falcon, and I was awful with both of them, but I had a lot of fun with Captain Falcon. Like I think that's the case, and I liked watching Falcon melee because they always do like ridiculous things for the love of the game, and that's like what we want to embody with this character among like other characters that we looked at. We looked at like also Orion from Street Fighter, who used his entire body as a weapon, and he wore a Speedo, and I was like, that's amazing. And a bunch of other stuff. We didn't he went through a lot of like iterations and process, and the fact that Izzy created this character that was just like literally butt naked and made him like super cool was enough for me. Like I was just like, I'm on board, because he went through a lot. He used to be kind of just like an athlete and was one dimensional, but I think this kind of gave him more character. We wanted to explore the realm of like the archetype of the anti-hero. I love anti-heroes because some of my favorite characters are characters like Venom or the Punisher, or like anybody who like means well, but they realize like they live in, you know, for those super nerds out there, DS9, you can argue that Captain Benjamin Sisko is an anti-hero in some regard, because he's pitted against like gray area like tasks where that isn't like black and white of like do the good thing, do the bad thing. It's kind of like, well, you know, would you blow up a senator's shuttle to save millions of people? It would cost their lives. You know, would you do it for certain things? Like, how would characters react to that? And Achilles is not really interested in being your friend because he doesn't care. Like, he's just there to do what he does best, and that's his whole shtick. We obviously got inspired also from like the Spaniard and Gladiator and that character's rise, who's arguably a lot more honorable than Achilles. But Achilles won't, he fights dirty, but you know, he wants a fight. He doesn't want to like win cheaply. That's his whole archetype. That's who he is. I love Brian Mann's drawings of Achilles. He had a lot of fun. Like this like little dash turned into like Achilles like run cycle, his bravado walk, these like expressions that Izzy did.
Is Brian drum all cheeked up like that?
Oh yeah, like Brian's all about those like cheeks.
Brian's all about the cheeks.
Which we will. I know we will. There will be a booty patch in the future.
His cheeks are lacking.
Grancer. Yeah, but it's our first time modeling things into a game. Please, we're learning as we go. He's more cheeked up in the concept art anyway. Like, look at this.
Also, yeah, true.
Yeah, getting defeated by a guy with like a supreme cod piece is like makes me question my reality.
Fair.
Yeah.
Damn, Brian.
Brian loves drawing this guy.
I love Achilles because I feel like he really embodies that like Saturday morning cartoon vibe too. Like he really has that like Johnny Bravo swag. He has that like. What other characters am I thinking of?
No, I love that people. We're not sure how people are gonna resonate with the characters, but it's funny. It's not funny. It's awesome seeing people get who he is. You know, like he's an amalgamation of a lot of characters that we know, that we kind of like. You know, like Nikita said, Johnny Bravo, but you know, there's a lot of other inspirations that are thrown in there, and then it's really cool to see people just kind of get it. They just kind of get who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justin, you mentioned about Johnny Bravo, but also like he kind of like when we were designing them, he was also inspired by like the in Japanese culture in the modern day. There's a group of people that really like the American greaser of like that fantasy of like Grease Lightning and John Travolta, you know, singing Jitterbug and all this stuff, where they kind of create slick back hair, and they got the cool, like they're so
Josuke
James
from
Dean.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was a massive influence on me as an animator on this character, because like I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It is the most unreal anime you will ever see in your life, and I was just like I love the fact that they like turn these like characters that are that look like Achilles, and they make them super like vibrant. You know, the bravado is like to the degree that I like, that is over the top, and I love that. And in Japanese culture, when they do like the renditions of like Grease Lightning or like the American rockabilly, they oftentimes will have people that like really make pronounced like pompadours on their head, where they like really like lean into that. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Diamond Unbreakable, like that main character is like all about his hair. He doesn't care what you do to him. You can beat him up, you can spit on his face, but if you fuck with his hair, he will end you right there and then. And I was just like, it's so funny to me. I love that. And like I wanted to embody, like, push Achilles in that direction where he's like a stylish guy. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he knows his capabilities. You talk dirty on his style, he will down smash like dare stomp you into the freaking ground. Like, the guy doesn't, you know, he can back it up, and that's like the fun of this character. He went through a ton of like process and iteration, because at one point, like where Izzy I think started out with him is we wanted like a super athlete, right? We wanted a character who's like competing in this game, who's just like the best athlete at whatever. And we had like, you know, when we were still figuring it out, he was like he played sports that were like insane, like sprint on like in the volcano, or like meteor throws or like whatever. Like, it was just crazy shenanigans. And he kind of was originally like a robot, but we didn't really want to go in that direction of like super robot or whatever, so we wanted to go deep further.
We didn't want to be at that technology level of like robots in our world now. Like, we feel like it's kind of been done forever and ever. Not to say like we're not gonna have like Roombas and stuff, but like, yeah, we just don't want to. I don't know. Maybe we will in the future, but it just felt not where we wanted to go for the start of the game. Is like ultra sci-fi. Because personally, I'm kind of bored of that. Like, I like the more, just kind of less tech kind of area. And if there is going to be robots, it's going to be some other type of like way to do it.
Yeah. Like, we want, if we're not going to go with robots, then we wanted to go explore other elements. And when we made him a golem, we're like, well, why is he a golem? Where does he come from? So the golem species was created, and beyond that, it was like, how do we, like, okay, there's golems, but why is Achilles different? So we Izzy kind of championed a lot of that stuff and created like the Vitruvians. Among like last stream we did of lore, we talked about like the different factions of golems in Terramir and their like kind of civilization, and the fact that they're like one of the oldest civilizations on Chibaba because they're golems. They last a really long time, you know. I love Achilles like in these drawings, especially where it's like I mentioned Urien as an inspiration because Urien just uses his entire body as a weapon, and that's like a huge thing about Achilles. He doesn't, you know, Akane has a spear.
Weapon. Like his body,
his body is a weapon. Like Akane has a spear, Django has items. Shai has like an array of items as well, but Achilles only has like himself. Like, he has the fin on his head, but outside of that, it's just like his fists and his like feet, and that's all he's got. So like that, like these drawings that he did, like of like these kind of shapes that were like so important to the discovery of this character, just like fueled that ideology, you know. Here's some more like older drawings of Achilles where he was like maybe more robotic, maybe more inspired by.
He is partially inspired by Ava.
I was about to say, I feel the Eva right there.
There was
like,
definitely some Ava like inspiration when he was more of like a robot. But we pulled back from that and like pivoted to more of like a golem, because the shape was really cool. But you know, we didn't want him to be a straight up like, you know, like automaton, like a robot with like mortars and stuff. We wanted him to be something more, you know, aligned with our game's kind of aesthetic. Like, if you have like a ninja, then I expect there to be something kind of mystical or magical or kind of fantastical in our world. You're still grounded in science, but something I think felt more appropriate for him to be a golem.
I think it's sick that you guys landed on the idea of like Golem with like, you know, attachments, like the metal attachments that everybody uses inside of the Coliseum in order to like enhance themselves in different ways, kind of playing off of the fact of like he himself is the weapon, like that is all you get, like it is what you get. Like you really feel that too when you play him too, because like everybody else in the game, it's like, oh, you get someone off stage, like you get the choice of, oh, do I go off stage or do I play with some of my toys I got in my kit? But Achilles, it's just straight up like, do I send it or like, because he is it. Oh yeah, this stage is so dope.
Yeah, we'll talk about the stage in a sec. Like he's also kind of inspired by like here's like his old concept drawing of like him as a robot and kind of like where we were going with it. Yeah, I mean Gennady is an incredible artist, but you know, like there's room for like exploring these, and that, like Achilles is part of Vitruvians, and there's other Vitruvians out there, so maybe some of them like look a little bit more in this direction. And when we were like kind of going more sci-fi with stuff, and like his old like McDonald's colors. Like there's definitely like a lot of like ideology. I think I also had like hold on, it's this drawing that I just found. I'm getting this just for you, Nitro, but this is not Achilles. But it is definitely like when I was helping Izzy with like just random drawings, we would like have, you know, little drawing stuff going on. But there was like at one point we were like, what if he was just like this crazy weird robot that had like floodlights for eyes and you like made train noises or something.
I remember y'all bringing this up. Like it is insane.
Yeah, I mean, obviously moved away from it, but like, you know, it's like old drawings that were like inspired by him. Yeah, he also runs this place called the Achilles Coliseum, and I'll put these like kind of next to each other. Izzy, if you want to talk about the Achilles Coliseum.
Yeah, one day we'll get to this stage. Thought we could, like, since we're talking about backstory. So this is where Shai helped Achilles kind of fix the hollow projectors and, you know, repaired them up for him. And ever since that, they've been tight. And yeah, this is like a refurbished Vitruvian Colosseum. The Vitruvians used to run Colosseums all over the continent, and they would enslave humans and have them like fight in these games against each other to the death. And so to humans in our world, the Colosseums are, you know, these symbols of Vitruvian dominance from long ago. But they've since kind of gotten over that. You know, they more or less like are fine with the Vitruvians at this point. But the Vitruvians like don't really mess with anyone else. So Achilles being there, like he's just like everyone just thinks he's really cool. And so it was easy for him to basically be able to take over this historical landmark and turn it into an arena, because he's just that popular.
He's a very popular guy, and I will fight Cordell to the death about this. But Achilles does have a design on his back of his jacket that to me is canonically the stitches that Shai did to kind of like fix up his jacket for him. It was a drawing that Cordell did as a placeholder, but I just thought it made like it was just very
we'll
appealing.
keep it. We'll keep it if you want to keep it.
I just really want to keep it because I think it's like it's endearing, and I like the relationship between Shai and Achilles, and I reflect that in the animations themselves. A lot of like Shai's like punches with his game gauntlet. Echo Achilles is like combat, which is a lot of like fist related like attacks and stuff. Like obviously they kind of train together. They share a little bit of like some combat because like, you know, Shai is like a street urchin. He doesn't have like an official fight style. He's just like a survivalist. And Achilles' fight style is I will just use whatever part of my body to destroy you. It doesn't matter. Like if it's my fist, I'll do that. And he punches a lot of people and things. So I like building in that kind of ideology in the characters' like move sets by themselves. which I'm still working on for some of Achilles things. So stay tuned to that.
Yeah, this was a fun stage that we made up too. Like I remember, I just really wanted to do like that a statue that's crumbled, but it's been finished with holograms. And like I pitched that to Izzy, and I was like, dude, like this would be sick. And then you drew it really nicely here, because I've wanted to make a stage like this for so long, with like the weird hologram stuff. Like it'll like kind of self-illuminate light the stage, and it's gonna be beautiful when we finally make it. But I love that like we have those like destroyed kind of like Greek statues in the background that were not Achilles, but he's like, hey, can you turn all of these statues into me?
Yeah, he's like, make them all me, please.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know who they were before, but make them me. And Shai's like, all right,
it doesn't
dude.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shai's like I was just gonna briefly. Shai's like a tinkerer, right? He likes to mess with his like technology, so that's why he like understands this stuff. And Achilles is not that. But go ahead, Justin.
I was just gonna comment on. I love the like it adds personality to the haphazard wiring of the lights and everything in the background too. With generator just hanging out.
Yeah, you know, Shai's not exactly a professional like technician.
Just
Exactly.
making it happen as he does.
This stage also reminds me of Pokemon Stadium in its own.
Yeah, we'll have
way.
the live match thing on the TV in the back. Do the whole spiel and have more fun with it.
Yeah, this will be fun. This will be a fun stage. We'll get to it. Yeah, and here's like a more here. I'll put this guy on screen. It's just like the actual statue that's kind of holding up the stage in that concept art. The Atlas Achilles. Who knows if that wasn't really Achilles, but it is now with Shai's help.
It'd be really funny if you had one of the statues, like the head is just like next to it, like they knocked it off so they could put it.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll have to do that.
Oh yeah,
1000% we'll do that.
So good.
Yeah, so that's basically this one. Okay, there's one more thing to talk about for Achilles, and we kind of had a little bit of that with like Jingo and Nikani. So I wanted to give the floor to Izzy to talk about these guys.
Yeah, so these are, like I said, when I develop a character, I like try to design kind of the characters who they are going to be surrounded by. So these aren't necessarily like the final designs, but you know, he comes from a society of golems. So I was thinking like, what if his, you know, and since they're rock people, we can kind of be silly with their designs, you know, kind of be inspired by like how wacky things can be in like anime. So like Doric, which is named after a kind of column, like literally just has like a big column for a head. I don't know, kind of silly, but you know, just kind of throwing that out there. A fellow Olympian, so back then I called them Olympians, but they're Vitruvians now. So that's maybe like a female Vitruvian right there, from third from the left. Maybe she's more slashy, right? You know, if we ever want to do more Vitruvian characters, like she would maybe be able to like slice you up, whereas Achilles is more about punches and stuff. The fourth one though, that's a Mudman, who are like the lower class golems that everyone kind of punks on and orders around. The Vitruvians are really mean to them, but they're cool with it. You know, it's just kind of how they are. They're fine with being kicked around. Then there's King Cronius, who I'm thinking maybe that's like Achilles' dad or something. Like the king of this like society of golem people. Kind of want to model him off of Zeus, off of Leonidas from 300, you know, like want him to feel like this like larger than life, like kind of Zeus character, because I feel like Vitruvian society would be pretty, like would have very like overtly masculine kind of like godlike characters, you know. And then the last guy here, this is the clay philosopher, and he's kind of based off of old Sumerian tablets, and the way that the Sumerians would record information is they'd put them on these cylinders, you know. So I always thought that looked very interesting. So I kind of made him look like an old Sumerian artifact, and he's like literally falling apart, and he's holding, you know, a giant like scroll with old Gollum or Vitruvian knowledge and lore. You know, just trying to like fill out the world.
I always like these concepts, especially this guy, Doric. This is like Achilles' rival. His head is just a freaking pillar, and I'm like, yes.
I love it.
Like this
It
is
shows,
the only
like the three different like layers, kind of, because you got like you said, like fellow Ventruvian, I guess, is like more so the blade archetype where it's like all slashes, and then you got Doric, which is just pure blunt, like, and then Achilles is that mix of both, like he's a bunch of blunt, but then he got that blade like on his head too, so it's super cool to see.
Yeah, this guy reminds me of like the Thwomp from Mario or something.
Yeah, he's like a living thwomp.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can explore, and radar versions of clone characters, you know, of like other opportunities for to use golems. Kind of going down the line of like stuff like this, just this character and their rich history. Anything to add, Justin, Nitro?
Just beautiful to see all of it, like all of this like out there, and like how all like well it ties together too. It's just too beautiful.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, you know what's
I
funny
mean,
is with
he
the-
is
with the
beautiful.
kill-
Look at him.
The funny thing with Achilles is that like because we kind of revised the whole fact that he was a robot and he became a golem, it made me ask questions about our world. Where like, if there's golems, I'm assuming that they're a very ancient species, and then from there I was like, hey, we could use these golem people as kind of like kind of as like a seed for more of the lore in the game, because it started making me ask questions about like where the golems come from. Would there be different kinds of golems? Where are they, like where like what are the humans' relationship with the golems? And I thought it'd be interesting to invert the historically in a lot of lore, golems are kind of like the servants of humans, like they're controlled with like this crystal, and then you can kind of give them commands. So I thought to kind of flip the switch on that is that the golems used to enslave humans, because I mean they're like statue people, right? Like how do you fight that? So like that in our world, like the golems used to rule Borba. Like they used to just imagine like if Pillarmen from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure were just walking around strutting like Achilles and just like beating the shit out of people, you know? So that's what was going on, and so eventually that's why people had to figure out how to defeat them. That's kind of
they're
where the
a
golems
formidable
came
foe. Yeah, they're a formidable foe. Do a lot. Kind of like, you know, they used to run the show, but now everything's different. I can read some questions from chat. I saw some earlier. Is Achilles gonna have a hoodie up skin?
Needs that
Does?
low key.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, probably. I don't know, Cordell.
What was the question?
Is Achilles going to have a hoodie up skin?
I mean, yeah, that's something we really want. It already supports it. We just need to make it work with the hood up.
Yeah.
We want to do like a taunt thing where like you'll press like taunt and he'll like do something, and then you'll press A at the right frame, like a frame perfect thing, and then boom, he'll put it on his hood. That's like a fun little thing you can do.
Wait, that's tough.
Yeah, that's like a Project M thing that we would totally like carry over, you know.
One other thing
yeah.
while we're
Call
talking
it a
about
hood
Achilles
cancel.
skins, we need that spiff, what's it called, jacket on Achilles, yo. That
Oh yeah,
shit
you
would
see that
be
update, and that's
crazy.
sick.
It'd be so crazy.
Oh yeah, I think Achilles is the perfect contender to like wear the actual like denim fleece like Kickstarter jacket.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's big enough to where like, you know, you get to see like some of the patches too if you wanted to throw any of them on. The
Yeah.
patches are so good.
We gotta.
I see the Insomnia Corp one and stuff too. I'm like, oh yeah, nah. It's too fire.
I want business wear Achilles, like
Business
concept photo
wear?
from earlier. Yeah, the one where you had the floodlights as the eyes. Throw him in a button down. Give me that.
That'd be pretty dope.
The collar
so
up.
slick.
Oh, exactly.
He's so dope. He's got the like the business suit on.
Mm-hmm.
Very possible. I mean, like this will, you know, this could have been Achilles. This guy. Anything's possible. Let's see what we got here. Which part is your favorite? I love part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's with Jolene, I think. What is my favorite part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? That's such a hard question for me to answer. There's definitely like, I mean, I love Jotaro in that realm of like, what is it? Not Diamond Unbreakable, but like the JoJo's arc, or like Jotaro's entire arc was like the longest season, season 3. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. Like, I also personally really liked it's the one with Giovanni Giorgio where they're like in Italy, and it's like the, you know, in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's like the lineage of like the character JoJo, and then like the different lineage throughout time, and then Giovanni Giorgio is like a bastard child that is like JoJo's bloodline, but he's like part of like the main character Dio. But I just love that world. It's like he's a gangster, but he wears this like insane, bizarre pink uniform, and it's got like a heart that only encapsulates his chest. But he's like a real thug. Like he'll stab you with a knife. Like that guy, like like he's part of that culture, but he just like you don't read it that way. And I love, and it's like part of it's kind of silly Japanese kind of like perceptions of like Italy, but they have names like fettuccine Alfredo, and I think that's really funny to me. But this is like the thug that you're afraid to meet on the streets. You know, like I love that. I love how terrifying this man is. I mean, you would never.
He's got ladybugs on his chest, dude. Like,
yeah, like you
can't mess
can't.
with this man.
I think there's oh, here it is, I found it. This is like my favorite pose from the anime of like him. Like this is how he introduces his stand. Like in a like a public bus, where it's like, this is me and my weapon of death that will literally like turn you into Swiss cheese if it wants to, if I command it. I'm like, holy shit, man. It's so intimidating, and I love like all the posing in that show. It's like a huge inspiration for Achilles. Like,
yeah, if we could get 5% of that, I'd be happy.
yeah, like it's such a cool thing. Wisdom also says, any Chainsaw Man references when making him, some of his concept art looks like it. We didn't know about the show or heard of it when
I don't think it
working on this
existed
character.
when
I don't know if
him.
it did.
It didn't. Chainsaw Man was not a
No,
thing.
it
when
showed
created
it.
Achilles.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's been around since the 80s, dude.
No, this is Chainsaw Man.
Oh, Chainsaw Man. Oh, yeah, that's pretty new.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man came out in, I think the manga probably exists for a while, but the TV show I think came out in 2022, and Achilles was on paper in like 2019 or something. I am aware of Chainsaw Man, and then I saw the like, you know, the kind of like similarities between Achilles and like this character. You know, obvious reasons with like the chainsaw coming out of his head. But I don't really, I have a lot, like, I like Chainsaw Man. I haven't really watched it. So I don't really know how the main character acts, whether if he's an anti-hero or like something like that. But the character design, like, that happens a lot in the industry, where people create things simultaneously without like knowing about their existence. It's just like a thing that happens. But we were not specifically looking. Are they? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Let's see.
Nathan asked, is Achilles' favorite food French fries?
I love that in video games that happens when the character says stuff and you just make it into whatever it sounds like, because he says fist rush as like his like oodabu dabu dabu thing that he does with like a lot of fists. But it just sounds like French fries, and you can't escape it.
It's French fries.
He just screams French fries as he pummels you to death into like a puree. So that's pretty terrifying, if you ask me. Izzy, I got a question for you specifically. Who are your biggest inspirations as an artist?
Oh man, that's tough. I kind of look at everyone. like whatever's cool. Like I bring up Akira Toriyama, which honestly I wasn't the biggest Dragon Ball fan growing up, so I went back and watched it as when I got older, and you know I missed out as a kid. I should have really watched it more. But you know but I played a lot of the video games that he art directed, like Dragon Quest and Chrono Trigger, so I still kind of got to see what he was all about. Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, he wasn't an artist, but he's a creator, you know, of a world, and that's very inspiring. Let's see, just from like the art side of things, like for me, like my kind of like childhood artists that I really look up to are like all the artists that were doing, like all the Capcom artists, like Bengus and man, their names escape me, but all the guys who did art for like Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Darkstalkers, like that and like all the Marvel games at that time period, there is an art style to that era of Capcom that I think still has not been achieved by anyone. Like that is the era of Capcom that I think is like the golden age of Capcom, when they first were doing like Marvel superheroes, and there's just something really cool about the way they design the characters and the way that they like when you saw Captain America but in an anime style, like I was just your mind, and Wolverine drawn in that anime style, and Storm and Rogue drawn in that anime style. It was just like this cross of cultures that and Spider-Man, like the way Spider-Man animates in Marvel vs. Capcom, and the way that all the like a lot of the posing in our game is very much inspired by like fighting games, you know, like so that's like a really big inspiration. And obviously the Sakurai, you know, Sakurai is a huge inspiration, I think, for all of us. Yeah, there you go, Marvel vs. Capcom. Without Sakurai, like we wouldn't be where we're at. And I may not agree with a lot of his game design decisions, but the original Smash Bros, you know, like couldn't have happened without his vision and like his dedication to trying to make something different and new, and his the way he designed the characters' movesets. Like he took Captain Falcon was literally just a dude who raced, and they made him into this you know, he's kind of like a reference to Power Rangers, I think, and that kind of like stuff, you know. And they kind of gave Captain Falcon, who was just this racer, like this moveset that was just crazy awesome, you know. So without Sakurai, we wouldn't be here, you know. We still refer to like moves in Smash to this day because it's so iconic. So yeah, that's just some inspiration. Some people.
It's a staple. You need that.
Exactly. If people make alt skins concepts for fun, will it interfere with you guys making designs? I think people can make whatever fan art they want. Like,
yeah, please do fan art. We don't care.
Yeah, it's we're relatively strict about like creating skins in this game, at least for now. We hope to keep that up as like we don't want to make arbitrary skins and designs for the game. Like they kind of have to fit within like just the general narrative of the game to some degree. Like we can definitely stretch things, and color palettes are a different thing. Like yeah, there's an Ava color palette, but like it's not, you know, it's just like the colors. It's not like he's not we're not making him
Yeah,
a,
it's
that
not an
character
Eva,
from that
exactly.
show. Yeah, it's just
purple.
like, you know, it's just a purple Achilles, and he has highlights that are green. So it's like green and orange. But like we want to, like the good example is like the Connie Batgod skin that is like it doesn't have to be Connie, because it could be like the concept of like the character that embodies like a once upon a time, but it has to like kind of fit in our world. Like we want to avoid scenarios where Connie just has like a giant inflatable banana for no reason or whatever. Like it's not something we're looking to do with this game. Crossovers are still up in the air for how we would operate down the line, but 1.0 is still a ways out, so we will see it when we get there. So a lot of stuff is TBD. But we do want to make sure that the Combo Devils IP stands up on its two legs, and that we cultivate a community behind that before we explore like other options and kind of like where that also is all going to go. So hopefully we can create a cast of characters in a world that's interesting for players and go from there. But you know, we're open to crossovers of stuff eventually. Thank you for so much for all the work and thought you all have put in this game. Thank you guys for like tuning into this stuff. You know, we're happy to yap forever. We've gone over our time limit significantly, but this is why we only talked about 4 characters today. We have Jingo, Achilles, Akani, and Shy, and like we would have another 4 hours probably if we talked about like the other 4 on this list. So we will eventually do that. I think, generally speaking, we're going to take a little break from lore streams because we want to focus on like the game and kind of like building that up. And kind of like we need to like put a lot of like it takes time to set aside to like make sure we have like coherent like information for you guys to like be able to digest. So we're not talking out of our asses for like 3 hours. And we, even though we've like written this stuff like over and over and talked about it over and over, it is nice to go back and like redigest this information and kind of reveal things in a coherent way to like people who otherwise, like Nitro is a great example of somebody who knows some of the lore that we talked about it like tournaments, but now we're kind of like divulging more information, you know, in a more coherent way that isn't just like kind of babbling about like, oh, I think it's this, I think it's that, I don't remember. Izzy and I spent a lot of time like condensing information into like palatable form without and trying to tie up loose ends that bug us. Like a lot of our conversations is like, wait a minute, we need to answer this, even though we don't talk about it on the lore stream, but I need to know it for my sake because like I will otherwise have questions, and if I have questions, someone else has asked questions, like, and people in the stream come up with like other, like Xochi's age. I'm like, that's a good question. We didn't have like a solid answer on that, but we did think about like the permeance of Xochi and like what's her role in Akani's story, and the fact that, you know, she's like her grandma's bat, you know, that kind of gives you a sense of like how old that character is. But that kind of stuff's important, so it'll help like identify a lot of things for the future. Izzy sent me this really quick. I do want to talk about it, Izzy. One more Achilles thing.
These are just more of those statues that Achilles defaced with his face.
Perfect.
So when Cordell gets to modeling them, he has... Actually, I'll probably sculpt some parts of these. But yeah.
Yeah, so... with that, I'm kind of like leaning... Unless anybody else in the stream have any thing to add. Justin, Nitro, Cordell.
No,
I'm all good. W stream, I appreciate y'all again for this and for like going above and beyond as you guys always do. Like, you guys came with more than I was ever prepared for in terms of like depth and in terms of like even seeing the like family members and added characters like for added context and whatnot, and seeing a lot of the original concept designs of these characters. It's so incredible to see.
Izzy goes hard.
Izzy goes crazy.
He does. Yes, he does.
Y'all all do, honestly. Y'all doing God's work.
Sunny in chat says, who can eat the most tacos? I can answer that question.
Lizzo.
This man. This man. He can eat a lot of the taco master. Here's a little preview of stuff we'll talk about, but I won't dwell on that.
Wait, can you do me one favor? Can you
What's
just go back to Akani real quick? And scroll in on her text in the top left. Yeah, what does that say under occupation?
What does that say, Izzy?
That's all I gotta say.
It says the truth. She's an eco-terrorist.
Damn right she is.
Hey.
Damn right. Nah, I'm playing.
I know Liz. People think of the singer when they think of Lizzo, but I didn't know Lizzo was a person that sang when she made
Lizzo didn't exist when we created Lizzo.
I don't think
we
so.
predate Lizzo, and we've outlived Lizzo. So sorry,
Yeah,
Lizzo.
sorry, Lizzo.
Love your music, but sorry. She had
Yeah.
some banger tracks, for sure.
She did, but
It would
Lizzo
be
was
really cool if y'all had like the earliest, if y'all could find like timestamps of when like like earliest times like different characters were like locked in place or pinpointed.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause I know
that's-
that'd be really cool for whenever you get to the dev cycle stream.
Yeah, we definitely have stuff like that. We have like an old Discord we used to use that has like all the archive. It's an archive Discord of all of our old stuff.
That's
Yeah.
so fire.
But yeah, probably like I could probably search it right now. Lizzo. Just go to like
We'll-
the first time it was said.
Crancer wants to know what Ikani's profession was. Oh man. But I guess I'll close it off. Close off the stream for chapter 2 of the Comboverse that dived into the characters. We for those who are either coming in late or missed anything, we were like our first lore stream was about the prologue of the game of like why these characters, like what existed before the characters that you as the player can play. And today we talked about chapter 2, which dove into the characters that are playable like now as characters that are available, like Jingo, Ikani, Achilles, and Shy. But on this list, as you can see, we still have 4 others that we didn't get to talk about because we like to yap, especially myself, so it goes on for a while. But the next session that we do will also explore, Pentado Adewale or Debo right here, Blair and her backstory, Didi and where he's from, and the big man himself, Lizzo. I kind of mentioned also that we are going to take a bit of a break from streaming because we want to focus on development of the game. If Izzy and I are like organizing our thoughts on the lore stream, we aren't developing, so we have to kind of balance that stuff out. But we'll be back and we'll kind of like mention it and explore more stuff. It says Shy play Roblox.
Hell no.
You don't have time for that.
Hell no.
Yeah, he's busy, man. He's got. Yeah.
He plays
He
Sonic
does
Adventure
play.
2
He does
Battle.
play.
Okay.
Hell yeah, he does. He plays Maple Story
yeah.
Idol RPG on his phone.
He be playing
Devil's
Combo.
Devil's Combo, yeah. His favorite game in canonical lore is Terminal Killosity, which is like
Hell
a very violent fighting game. Which is
Mega
my
violent.
favorite game.
Mega violent.
I think that Debo has a really compelling backstory. I really like it, and Blair we kind of refined into something that is very inspiring. Lizzo's is very like real. His story is very interesting and inspired like a lot of Izzy in that story, and Didi was something that was never really meant to be in this game, but kind of we made it work. But it's also a character that I championed, and hopefully we'll get to that and explore where he's from to explain his whole thing. Why does he look so weird? Why is he a spaceman? Thank you guys for doing it.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoy this, but we will see you guys by the digital fireplace on the next one. We got one more question really quick. Based on your current pipeline, how long does it take to complete a character? Do you think we'll get all these characters by the end of year 1? Man, I hope so. I mean, it depends on the funding situation.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll take like 3 to 4 months per character, but we have yet to know what that looks like on a full-time schedule since we've been moonlighting the game where we're not like 8 hours straight or 10 hours straight. We got to work other jobs first. Like, we have yet to see exactly how long it'll take.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, Jingo, Ikani, Achilles, and Shy were all made by everybody on the team that while we went to our day job, and then in the evening we'd work till like 1 or 2 in the morning. making these guys. So
Yeah, pulling like
we're-
14-hour days all the time for years and years and years, not being consistent.
Yeah.
it was tough. So it'd be cool to see like the consistent schedule.
Yeah, it'll also be nice as a developer to just work on this. Like, I mean, I loved working on like my other projects, but like this, you know, you don't have to switch like a mental, like a switch of any
anymore,
kind.
yeah. I literally
Yeah,
don't. I
you
don't have
can-
two computers anymore. I just have my computer. It's nice.
Gotta be weird.
I don't have to like
Like a
push a
void.
button that'll like switch my keyboard and my mouse to my personal computer anymore. Which was the
Yeah.
whole KVM switch setup. It was annoying.
Exactly, but yeah, stay tuned for more. We'll ping the Discord for Chapter 3 of the Comboverse. We are on TikTok and Instagram. TikTok doesn't like us, and Instagram also doesn't like us. So help us. I don't know what to do to make us more popular on those platforms.
Yeah, I post every single day to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Twitter, and Blue Sky.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot, and TikTok is really hard to grow for whatever reason. So yeah, if you follow us on TikTok and share it around, and also Instagram and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what else we could do about it other than retweet. That's what I do. My Twitter account is just like a bot that retweets Combo Devils at this point. Just fine with me. Anyway, thank you everyone for the lore stream session. We will see you on next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.